no time.
The time is
13
o'clock.
And we are here.
Hooray! Yeah,
It's another Saturday.
Just a slight technical difficulty. Just my OBS program crashed like a minute before I was supposed to start streaming.
Yeah, she stresses out when it comes to like what minute it is. I said, man, give them time. You know, they'll wait a couple minutes. You know.
Yeah, but I kind of get anxious just sitting here waiting.
I don't understand.
Once I get started, I don't like waiting for things.
These fucking bums are just sitting at home anyway, looking at the damn smart TV. They can wait a couple minutes.
We're
you know.
bums too, sitting
Yeah, you know, you're at home. Where they got somewhere to be. It's fucking Saturday. Saturday, and we got our fucking drinks already. I got one made for her. Yeah. Ran out of damn.
This is the
orange
last
juice.
of the orange juice. I didn't know I was out. I would have gone.
Yeah.
I got some. Oh well.
So, but I got some of this fucking beautiful ginger and lemon tea that I made.
Where did that come from?
I just had some ginger tea back in there, and I made it, fucking sweetened it, and fucking
got all kind of
a little bit of lemon in there. It tastes Chinese as shit, man. It's really good. Put some of that in there. That'd be like a Tokyo tea, even though that's not China, is it? Be like a Japanese tea.
Yeah, whatever. It's Asia.
I call that shit a Shanghai iced tea.
I guess so. It sounds pretty good. I was just gonna say our fucking pantry has so many mysteries. I don't even know what the hell is in there.
Yeah, I got all kinds of shit.
There's probably all kind of like drink mixes and stuff from like fucking 10 years ago that I don't even know is in there.
No, there was some real ginger tea.
Huh.
Back there.
Wonder how long that's been there.
Couple years.
I don't remember buying that.
Couple years. It was good though.
Michael Schaefer says been drinking beer since 1 o'clock. Oh my
shit,
goodness.
you're ready to go.
God damn.
Ready to go. Let's see what everybody's up to.
I don't know if I could. I'd be falling asleep by this point if I started drinking 4 hours ago. That's why I only just started a few minutes ago.
God.
Hopefully I don't get too incoherent by then. I'm still like everybody. I've gotten so many messages like saying last week's show was like the best show ever. And I'm just like, I'm so afraid to watch it. I just like, I can't even watch it back.
Yeah.
I just like, I don't even want to know what happened.
It wasn't bad. It was good. It was a good show. I went back and looked. You were fucking loopy as shit. But you were getting through it.
I was?
Yeah, and I had this look on my face like I had everything under control. I was like managing you. I was pushing you this way and that way, and I was looking at the audience.
Which
like,
is funny because it's usually the other way around.
Yeah, usually it's the other way around.
Like, usually you're just like sitting there going,
yeah, we're taking care of each other, though. We're taking care of each other. We're watching each other's back.
I guess so, yeah. Well, it's just like, because I seriously woke up at like 4 a.m. Like on Sunday morning, I was like, did I even finish the show? Did I even turn the computer off? What happened? Like, I didn't even know what happened.
She got in bed. I made her a chicken salad sandwich. I had that shit already made up. I made her a nice big, put it on toasted bread. It's all warm with that fucking creamy chicken salad that I had in there. Had the tarragon. Had the little fucking shaved almonds in it. It had the fucking dried cranberries in it and everything. I give that to her and she goes, thank you. And she takes one bite. And then I look over about 5 minutes later and that one sandwich is sitting back on that plate again with that one bite in it. That was it. And she was asleep. So I said, you don't want any more of this? And she goes, I said, all right. So I just put it in
I was probably so exhausted.
I fed it to her. Yeah, I fed it to her in the morning.
Well, the next day you brought me the sandwich in a bag with one bite taken out of it, and I didn't even remember.
It wasn't even a bite. It was like a fucking 1/3 of a bite.
I probably wanted it because I was probably really hungry.
Just a piece of the crust.
The reason that I got so fucked up was because I hadn't eaten anything for like probably 5 or 6 hours, like before we did the show.
I made some Chinese pork belly though.
Oh, it was really good.
Put that on some bed of ramen noodles. Mm-hmm. It's pretty good.
We had never made that before.
No, I don't think I'll be buying any more of that though. That was a $6 pork belly. It was good, but I'd rather buy $6 of fucking something else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
it's good, but you know it's not like that much better than.
Not, yeah. $6 a chicken is a lot better.
That's true.
It's more meat. And those big old pork tenderloins I get from Sam's, that's only like $15. And you know what I mean? And that's a lot of fucking lean meat.
Yeah, we can eat off that for at least a couple weeks.
So really here in the U.S., the way it's going right now, you're better to just go with a bigger piece of a fucking real high quality meat, make that investment right there. You really don't I bought some ham hocks. They were fucking expensive. They're ripping me off for ham hocks. That's white trash food.
Well, it used to be.
It used to be. Now
now everybody's...
Gordon Ramsay fucked that shit up.
Now everybody's foodies. So
yeah, they know what to do with it.
Right, you can't get away with it.
You can't get away with it like you could.
Because now everybody knows how to cook.
They know what that is. It fucking pissed me off. They got Yankees that know what that is. Ham hocks. You can't make red beans and rice without that shit. If it's good in black eyed peas too. And they'll used to be you could get 2 ham hocks for about $1.50. That was back before fucking other.
Well, yeah, I remember that was like shit nobody wanted. That was like poor people food.
Yeah, only rednecks and black people knew about it. Mm-hmm. We knew how to eat that shit. Yeah. And turkey necks. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't know nothing about them turkey. Turkey necks. His neighbor.
Full of turkey necks.
Yeah, his neighbor is this fucking black chick. Her husband's a fucking National Guard guy, so he's an NCO. He found out I was Army. My dad's ex-Navy, so they're like best buddies. She was visiting him in the hospital and everything for his heart transplant. Or not heart transplant. Fucking what do they call it? Heart bypass. And she brought him some chicken necks. All right? But that was when he was at home.
Yeah, turkey necks.
Turkey necks, excuse me.
Yeah.
He loved chicken. And he was telling me about those turkey necks. Then he goes in there and gets a surgery. And he comes out and he goes, the doctor put turkey necks in there. I said, no, he did not. Oh, I saw him. He put the turkey necks in there.
He did,
and
too.
He had me believing it.
It's like, maybe it's some new experimental
shit.
We don't know about it.
His memory
The miracle of turkey necks.
His memory got fucked up. He thought they had fixed his heart with... He thought the bypass was made out of turkey necks. And I was like, no, man, that was your neighbor. She was over here. She was talking to you before you went in into the operating room. And she was telling me about how you loved her turkey necks. And you were telling me how good the turkey necks were. And then he's like, I don't remember that. That's your... And I said, I don't believe that. I don't believe that he put turkey necks in there. I had a roll on another show. They put turkey necks in there. And I said, no, they did not. I do not believe that. That's your prerogative. I'll never forget that. And he forgets that fucking conversation. He can't remember. That's your prerogative.
Poor guy.
Yeah.
I mean, he just had his heart like all rearranged. Give him a break.
So, what's today's show?
This was kind of an interesting topic. This, notably, this is going to be the last topic that is not going to have like a poll done to it. So, like I said, if you're a patron, which most of you guys in the comment section are right now, remember you still have until tomorrow at noon Eastern Standard Time to vote on next week's topic and next week's movie retrospective. But this is the last one. This was actually recommended by somebody, and I can't remember who, like a long time ago. And then I kind of like expanded it out. We're going sort of true crime, but we're also doing Renaissance Italy. Now, first we want to talk about the case of Beatrice Cenci. Now, this woman, she was an Italian noblewoman. And very famously, she conspired with other members of her family to kill her father and was executed in a pretty horrible way. And over the years subsequently, she became kind of this romantic, tragic figure. Mostly because her dad was like a giant gaping anus and nobody was sorry that he died. And they thought that like she shouldn't have been punished for it, which I kind of agree with. But her case was kind of taken up by like poets and artists and shit like that, like later on. So she kind of attained this sort of like legendary status, almost like a Joan of Arc kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I found her case very interesting. And then while I was looking into her case, I was thinking, I wonder, is there something else like that happened around the same time period or something that was kind of similar that I could add to it? And I was like I went down one of those like Wikipedia wormholes, and I found like list of people executed by the Holy See, which Beatrice Cenci was. And I found the case of Giulia Tofana, who was a master poisoner, may have been responsible for the deaths of 600 men. Also,
hold on, wait.
What's that?
Poisoner killed 600 people?
Yeah. Well, not directly, but her poisons may have been responsible for...
So she was selling poison, too?
Yes.
Okay.
She is also a very
Because I immediately
character.
had to call bullshit on that. If you killed 600 men directly through poison you were making and giving to people, it's only a matter of time before they figure out that you're the link between all them 600
Well, they
people.
did figure it out.
Yeah.
Eventually.
Even if she was doing it.
But she was running around, for a pretty long time.
Okay.
And we'll get into why that was, why she got away with it for so long. But yeah, I found her very fascinating too. And it seems like neither of these women, I had heard of Beatrice Cenci because, as I said, there's been fucking tons of stuff written about her. Charles Dickens wrote shit about her, Percy Shelley, Nathaniel Hawthorne. There's been plays about her, operas, all kind of shit. I had heard of her because Lucio Fulci made a movie about her in 1969. It's either called Beatrice Cenci or it's called, I think, The Conspiracy of Torture. I started watching it because it's on YouTube for free, but there's not a dubbed version that I know of. All the versions that are on YouTube are in Italian. So I was watching it in Italian with the automatic English subtitles, and that wasn't working out so good. So I was just kind of I just kind of skimmed through. I'm I know the story. I got the gist. And also because I think I mentioned a long time ago when I did my review of David Lynch's Mulholland Drive, he had a reference to her in the background of one of the scenes. He had a portrait of her hanging because of the whole patricide type of thing. So so I kind of got interested in her. I thought it'd be cool to do a show about it because we don't do a lot of historic I don't think we've done anything from Renaissance period, have we? We've done we've done ancient stuff. We've done stuff from the Victorian era.
I think we've mentioned it a couple times, but we haven't really focused in on it. Because remember we were talking about all the weird things that happened, the fucking dancing diseases and shit.
Yeah,
that was going on.
That's Middle Ages. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we've done Middle Ages or Renaissance.
We've done some of it. Well, I guess there's some crossover there, but yeah. So this happened these two cases were mostly very late 16th century, early 17th century.
Let me get some more ice in this shit. Look at that. Look at how it's just sucking my ice up like that. Huh?
Sucking your ice up.
Sucking my ice up, yeah.
Sandra, you saw Vivarium? Wasn't it awesome? I loved that fucking movie. It was so good. Actually, I want to see it again. This is the first live I follow. I can't fucking believe you're talking about someone with a name like me. Well, here's the thing. For a long time, because in English, we would pronounce her name Beatrice. So for a long time, I kind of just figured that that's how it was pronounced. Even though I did study Italian for a little while, so I knew that I said that's probably not how the Italians would pronounce it, but that's how they would pronounce it in English. So I started watching other stuff about her that was done in by native Italian speakers, and I tried to pronounce it similar. I don't want to be I don't want to be pretentious and pronounce stuff, but I don't want to pronounce it super wrong either. What are you eating?
Oh, you're gonna ask me what I'm eating?
No, I just saw you chewing, and I was
on my way out, I grabbed a piece of that pork belly.
Oh.
There was some of that still in the pan because I had some left over.
Oh, okay.
Man, that shit's good.
It is very good. It had a really good caramel kind of. It's very sweet.
Honey.
It's very sweet. Oh, is that what it is? Oh.
Yeah, it was honey, garlic, ginger extract, ginger powder, soy sauce, a little bit of salt.
Oh, okay.
No, it wasn't salt. What do they call it? Shit.
What do they call that shit? White pepper?
Chinese 3-spice or 4-spice,
okay.
whatever.
All right.
Just a little bit. 5-spice, that's what it is. Chinese 5-spice.
Oh, okay. But yeah, so I thought these would be an interesting show to do. So like I said, if any of you are Italian and I pronounce anything wrong, I apologize. I did try to get it kind of close, You want to do a couple of shout outs before we do anything?
Go ahead.
Oh, you have to tell the Pookie story.
Oh, Pookie?
You have to. This is so funny. Our kitty is so smart, you guys. Listen to this shit.
I walked out into the entrance area where the front door was, and Pookie was running around in a circle, and I couldn't tell what it was she was fucking doing. She goes to the door, and she goes over to the fucking cat bowl, or the cat fountain, and then she's running around, and then she gave up, whatever it was. So I let her out. While she was out, I noticed that the cat fountain wasn't running because the water had gotten too low.
Yeah, we have a little water fountain.
Yeah, so I filled it up with some of that filtered water and sat down in front of my television, and I could see the fountain where I was. I let her in. She came in. She ran back out there, and then she saw the fountain and did a little jump. Yay! And then it's back. I started laughing.
She was trying to tell me, Daddy, that the fountain had gotten too low and had stopped running.
It wasn't making water. It wasn't making the fountain.
And she was getting frustrated that he wasn't getting the message.
Yeah, she thought it wasn't coming back. No, it's not coming back.
It's broken.
Yeah, but she came back and she saw it. She stopped and she bucked. Yeah, like a horse buck.
Yeah.
Like that, and then went in a circle. It's back. fucking hilarious, man.
She's like so...
She's funny.
She's so weird about water, man. Because we have like the little water fountain, which runs constantly, you know. Yeah. And then we have the one, like on the other side of the house, we have the bowl that's attached to the big jug that you can just like fill with water. Every time you refill that jug with water, she comes running because she hears it. And then like she'll sit there and like watch the bubbles, like coming up with her head tilted like that, like watching the bubbles. And then all of a sudden she goes, ah, and like reaches out with both her paws and like wraps her little paws around the fucking
I've owned a bunch
jug.
I've owned a bunch of cats. I've never had one like that. Never had one like that.
She has quite a personality.
Yeah. I think it's because it's the only cat I actually really kind of like hand raised.
That we raised since she was like tiny.
And she's always been around people, never been away from people. So she knows how to communicate with people. And I know what she's trying to tell me just by eye contact. She'll stare at me and I go, I know what you want.
Yeah, she gives you a look.
I said, I know what you want. Because she's on a pattern. I know what comes next. She's on a routine.
Yeah.
About going out and where the food comes and this and that and filling bowls up and this. And she tells me what to do. Do this. Do that. Now it's time to go. It's all a routine.
Yeah, she's like, before you go to bed, she'll stare at you and be like, "You make sure you have all the full. Make sure the bowl's full of food before you go to bed, because I don't want to have to like step on your head."
It's hilarious. It's hilarious.
And she has, towel time in the closet after you get out of the shower.
Very uncat-like.
Throw the wet towel on her and she rolls around in it.
Yeah, very uncat-like. Very much like a monkey. She plays with the DVDs in the fucking shelf. Because she wants me to come and fucking grab her.
Yeah, because she wants you to yell
she wants me to stop her.
Too.
Yeah. It's just funny shit. Okay, we got to get to the show.
Oracle says, when do we get a Pookie t-shirt? I know, I need to make one.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like, I feel like we need to do a cartoon of her because I don't want to just like find clip art of a cat that kind of looks like her. I kind of want like an actual one of her. But I don't know. I'll have to think about something.
Everybody's talking about their cats. People asking for a fucking Pookie special. Yeah, fountain for the cat. Yeah. Ours drinks out of the faucet and the fountain. She'll drink out of both of them. If the water's moving, she likes it.
Yeah, I've heard that like that's something that a lot of vets recommend that you do, because a lot of cats will get dehydrated because they don't like stagnant water. That's just, for obvious reasons, because in the wild, stagnant water can sometimes have like diseases and stuff. So it's like they prefer running water because they know it's fresh. So just she really liked drinking out of the bathroom sink, and I didn't really want to have to I'll turn it on for her if she's up there, but I didn't want to have to leave the bathroom sink dripping all the time.
Yeah.
So we just got her a little
they make a fountain for that'll fucking recycle that same shit.
Yeah, and you just change it out
clean it.
The filter every
How much was that thing?
$30 maybe?
$30. It's worth it. Cats like
them. You can get cheaper ones. You can get more expensive ones. I just got that one because it was not, because some of the ones they have are kind of ridiculous looking, with the flowers and shit on them.
Put filtered water in there right through your little. I got those pictures that filters it. I filter it, put it in there. You only have to you don't have to wash the thing as much either. It's not like a damn stagnant bowl of water where they're drooling in it or something about that circulation. It seems to, and there's filters in the fucking fountain, so it just seems to stay cleaner a lot longer. You just keep adding water to it. Every 2 weeks, you want to take it out, take it apart, wash it off real quick, put it back together. It doesn't take long.
Wash the filter out and shit. Yeah. But it's it's been, she still drinks out of the sink, but, she even sits in there and lets the water drip on her and then licks it off her fur.
Yeah, I don't understand that.
She's weird.
She'll get in the damn sink and want you to turn the water on and let the drip on her. That's weird. I've never seen a cat
do that. Watches.
Watching it drip and she's licking. Just crazy cat.
I guess it just tastes better. I don't know.
It's a game.
I don't know. She's weird.
Some kind of game.
But yeah, so, I also had a couple of shout outs. We have 2 new patrons this week. Lynx13 and Kat. So welcome, you guys. Thank you very much. Also want to give another thank you to Dominic for sending us the movies. He sent us Heavy Metal and The Stand.
Watching The Stand again, Dominic. I tell you what, bro. I was seeing that. I saw it when it was new on TV and I really liked it. A couple years ago, must have been 6-7 years ago, somebody uploaded it to YouTube, man. And I was looking at it on YouTube and I was like, man, this is the same fucking movie? This is shit. Thing looks like shit. It just looked like something that was filmed fucking out, on a phone or something. This version, this Blu-ray version, is fucking excellent. It's like a movie.
Beautiful.
It's like a movie. It looks great. It's just very enjoyable. So I want to thank you for that. We haven't seen the Heavy Metal yet. That's also on the list. Haven't seen that one in a long time. That one, I remember that one being real good, but I haven't seen it since I was a kid. Heavy Metal.
Yeah, I don't think I have either.
But I remember there's a lot of music in it.
Yeah.
A lot of music in it.
Yeah, it's interesting because The Stand, I think I saw, because it came out in 94, right? And it was on CBS. And I think I maybe saw the first episode, but maybe that's it. I can't, I don't know, it's all a blur. I was in my 20s then. And, I remembered not liking it all that much. But then when we were watching it again last night, I'm like, wow, this is excellent. I was like, maybe I was mixing it up with another one. Maybe I was mixing it up with the first It.
And it's real close to the book. Real close.
It is, yeah. It's from what I haven't read the book in a long time, but that's another one I need to read.
This makes me want to go see buy The Stand. Or not The Stand, The Shining.
Yeah.
You don't like The Shining TV series.
No.
But I want to see that again.
Where did we watch it before?
I don't remember.
Was it on YouTube? Was it on YouTube?
Might have been YouTube. I want to see it again. I bet you. I wonder if there's a good Blu-ray version of it.
I'm sure there is. And it reminded me last night we were watching The Stand. I'm like, man, now this makes me want to watch Rose Red. Because you didn't see that, did you?
No,
I think that came out in the early 2000s, I want to say. Because I think I was living in Tampa when it came out. Because I remember watching it when I was in my apartment in Tampa.
We saw the first 2 hours, and there's a lot of Army soldiers. The shit came out in 94 or so. Maybe
I think it was 94.
94. And the uniforms were spot on. I got out in the end of 94, almost 95 is when I got out of the Army. And the uniforms are spot on. That's exactly what we were wearing. Of course, they're still running around in Jeeps. Back in the 90s, in the movies, the Army was still in Jeeps on TV. Now, we didn't have Jeeps. Jeeps were gone. Everything was Humvees. But they couldn't get them. They couldn't get Humvees. That's why you rarely ever saw them in movies.
Well, yeah. So it's we're just going to have to
put
make
a Jeep.
do.
Yeah.
And I had totally forgotten that Gareth directed The Stand.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was way, way better than I remembered.
Yeah.
Zach says, isn't Rose Red just The Haunting of Hill House? Essentially. It's Stephen King's version of The Haunting of Hill House. He loves that book.
Well, that means I got to see it.
But,
Yeah.
I just want, the more versions of Haunting of Hill House they want to make, the better, because that's probably my favorite haunted house novel. And one of my favorite horror movies, the 1963 version, not the 1999 one. And that one was shit.
Victor Garcia says The Stand remake comes out in December.
Oh, interesting.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I figured now would be a good time for them to make another, because everybody's all up in an apocalyptic fiction type of stuff.
Yeah,
so you'd think there'd be another version of that. I think I already.
This is the apocalypse. I think it is.
Well, like I said, it's.
But it's going to happen in slow motion.
It's more boring than the ones in the movies.
Yeah, it's going to be very much in slow motion. And I don't want to be like a downer, but I know you motherfuckers are into fucking fear porn. If you're not, you wouldn't be on this damn channel. It's going to go just like Rome. It takes generations, long time for a civilization to fucking decline. They don't really collapse overnight. It's just a slight decline. Even Rome divided up into a couple, divided into an Eastern and Western empire. The United States is going to do something like that, but it'll take the rest of my life. A lot of these problems that you're seeing, they're not going to end. This is the way it's going to be. It's going to be like this from here on out, and probably get worse. It's just the nature of civilizations. This is just how it goes. And here's something, there was a dude. He was a futurist. I was watching his fucking program, and a lot of shit that he said fucking made a lot of sense. It just kind of stuck with me. He said, no matter who you are throughout history, whether you lived in the 1300s or the 1000s or the 1800s, from your point of view, the future would be totally unacceptable. A person from 1000 AD would look at today, they'd see that shit as totally unacceptable. A person from the 1800s would think that today is unacceptable. It's over little things. You know what I mean? Like, shit. They'd be like, oh, no, this ain't America, or that kind of shit. You know what I mean? Wait a minute, hold on. Christianity's gone. Or, oh, this group isn't in charge. Or, oh, my civilization no longer exists. Where'd the Saxons go? It'd be shit like that.
Because everyone's whiners.
Everybody's fucking whiners. And nobody...
Just roll with it, man.
Nobody has successfully predicted the future, and no one's been able to control the future. So, who you are right now, what's to come 20, 30 years from now, you're not going to like it.
Well, that's why
you're not going to like it.
Well, that's why I'm not worried about it.
Yeah, so there's nothing you can do about it. Just fucking deal with the shit.
I have enough personal anxieties, of just little shit that I can't control to worry about. I'm not going to worry about shit I can't control. I don't need more anxiety piled on top of anxiety.
I have a lot of Buddhist influence in terms of Buddhist philosophy, and I'm just embracing the suck. This goes back to the army. If the shit sucks, fucking learn how to make it, just embrace it. You'll become stronger. The fact that the shit sucks. You'll overcome it. And if you can't adapt to it, then you die. It's all right. Nobody will notice 20 years after you're gone. A few years after you're gone, nobody will even remember you, so it's not a big deal.
Well, that's why, I mean, I know like a lot of, well, no, I mean, I know a lot of people get bummed out by that kind of stuff, but that's actually kind of like reassuring.
That's reassuring, yeah.
Because it's like, well, you know, I can't fuck up anything too badly. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like,
yeah, it's not
no
in
one will
your
remember
hands.
shit. It's like,
no one's going to remember that shit.
It's fine.
Yeah. All kinds
it takes a lot of pressure off.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, fucking, there were fucking mass murderers and evil motherfuckers that existed thousands of years ago, and an average person today doesn't even know their names anymore. Long gone.
Yeah.
Long gone. So, it's all temporary.
All we are is dust in the wind.
Just dust in the wind, dude.
Just
Bill
like
and
Kansas
Ted.
said.
All we are is dust in the wind, dude.
It's true.
Yeah, the part 3 of that's coming out. Some people have seen it already.
Yeah, I heard about that. I had been hearing about that for a long time. I can't believe they actually finally got around to it.
Yeah, Midnight's Edge reviewed it. They said it was good. Said it was pretty good.
I mean, if they're gonna have that much time to work on it, it better be fucking good.
Well, they didn't work on it that long. It was only a couple years.
Well, no, but I'm just saying that after all this time.
Yeah,
you know.
They said it fits in with the other two, and if you liked the other two, then you'd like it.
Yeah.
You'd like it. Maybe we'll rent it. I think they want $20-something to rent it. But.
Well, if you wait a week or two, it'll probably go down to $6.99.
Right. Yeah, maybe.
I mean, that's usually you have to wait long. It depends on the movie. If it's a big movie, you usually have to wait like 3
I
or 4
loved fucking Bill and Ted's 1 and 2 when I was a fucking kid.
I did too.
I loved it too. I thought they were awesome.
It's so funny to see Keanu Reeves in John Wick now.
Yeah.
Like when I remember him from that, and also from Dracula, like him going around.
John Wick was good, man.
I
liked
know.
all of it. Yeah.
I'm glad Keanu redeemed himself after all of that. Oh, and also I think I already reminded people to, if you're a patron, to go and vote on the next topic for next Saturday and the next movie retrospective for next Friday. I have 5 choices for each thing. What I did today, I decided that, because I don't just want to put, because I have like 5 choices and then everybody will vote for one and then we'll do a show about that, and then I don't want to put like the same 4 choices that lost and then like a new one. So what I did was I did these 2 little boxes. I got this little box and this has all the topics, and I got this little box and this has all the movies, and I just have them in there. So what I'm going to do is every week I'm going to put up 5, I'm just going to pick 5 out of there at random, and then with the one that gets picked that we do, I'll just throw that one away. And then I'll just put stuff back in there. So it's not going to be like the same choices every week, you know what I mean? Just to like mix it up. I don't know, that was bothering me. So I had to do this big elaborate thing today where I put all these slips of paper in the boxes. Also, if you are a patron, you will get to see my first book review show, which is going up tomorrow morning. If you're not a patron, then you'll get to see it Monday morning at 10 Eastern Standard Time. So hopefully you guys, I already have like several of those in the can, and I'm working on another book right now that I'm going to be reviewing shortly, like in a few weeks. So hopefully you guys will enjoy that. I'm going to start putting them up every Monday. So I'm excited about it. I have a huge fucking pile of books back there I'm going to review. Yeah. Tom's not enthused.
No.
That's, I don't read.
What are you talking about? I'm not involved in that.
Yeah, somebody said time to quote Ozymandias, and he's like, yeah, the guy that wrote Ozymandias is also. Interestingly, Percy Shelley, who wrote Ozymandias, also wrote probably the best known poem about Beatrice Cenci, who was one of the people that we're talking about tonight. You want to talk about this?
Yeah.
You all right?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm listening to the show.
Okay.
I'm listening to the show. Let you do your shit, man. Let you do it. The alcohol's just starting to hit me.
Oh, okay. Starting to like.
Yeah, you're fucking with my buzz, man.
I'm fucking with your buzz.
Fucking with my buzz. I'm letting it's seeping in. That was a pretty strong drink. Okay, so where are we going to start this?
Well, let's start talking about this young lady.
Okay.
All right. Now, so I feel like the legend of Beatrice Cenci kind of, as I said, it probably started somewhat after she was executed, because I think there was kind of like a lot of literary people, like poets and stuff like that, that got really that were really like taken by her story. So they kind of took the story and ran with it. So the way that the legend has come down to the modern era is fairly accurate, but not entirely accurate. You know what I mean? The story of her killing her abusive father and, you know, going to the gallows, or, you know, going to get her head cut off, like, unrepentant and all this other stuff, that's largely accurate, but there are some other details that kind of get left out of the stuff. So, okay. Now, as I said, this story has been told and retold by several, you know, very famous writers. She's been painted by very famous people. Although I should say that probably the most famous portrait of her, ostensibly, which I think is this one.
Oh, she was cutie.
That may not be her, or it may not have been her painted from life. Now, that painting was supposedly painted by Guido Reni. Now, I'm not entirely sure that that's her, though. A lot of people aren't entirely sure that that's her. Because the thing about Guido Reni was that he didn't start painting in Rome until 1608, and she was executed in 1599. So he was kind of not really well known enough in 1599 to have been granted access, like, to her prison cell, like, to paint her, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that might not be her, but a lot of people, when they think of her, that's generally the first portrait that comes up. They're actually not even entirely sure if Guido Reni even painted that. They think that later on, that his name might have gotten attached to it to kind of give it more of like a...
Okay.
So to make it more famous.
So what you're saying is that pop culture claims that that's her.
Yeah.
That's what.
But it might not be.
Probably isn't.
But it's, like I said, it's the most famous, like, portrait of her, and it's the one that Percy Shelley saw that inspired him to, like, write the poem about her. Now, she was, by all accounts, a very beautiful young woman. But I don't know if that was painted from life or not.
It's going to be like one of those situations with those Roman emperors. I remember reading some really old books about Rome, stuff that was printed in the 30s and 40s. And they're showing Roman busts, and they're claiming that this one is Caesar and this one's Hadrian and shit. And it's all fucked up. Because they didn't know. They had these busts, they didn't know who they were.
That's what I mean. There's no way of knowing, really. I mean...
Yeah, it took time. They ended up uncovering a damn buried theater that had busts of some famous emperors in it, and underneath the busts had their names. And then they had them switched around, you know. So, and evidently, you know, those good busts were accurate. That's how they looked.
Yeah.
You know, they were. That's how they did look. And, you know, it's probably a situation like that. These paintings, they probably just old paintings. They don't know who they are. It's hard to get a context.
That painting in particular, they said if it was by Guido Reni, it might be one of the Sibyls, which he had done another painting of that, like with the turban and everything like that, that's in the Uffizi. But they're just saying that it's unlikely that it was Beatrice Cenci, that she was painted from life in that portrait. You know what I'm saying?
On my dad's side of the family, got a whole genealogy and everything, know all the names. One time I was fucking digging through a damn fucking old stacks of photos, and there's white people in there. I don't even know who the fuck they are. Some of that shit goes back to the fucking early 1900s, fucking late 1800s, you know. Antebellum shit after the Civil War. There's names there. I don't know who that is.
Well, yeah, I mean, the thing about it is, like, once you go back, like, past my great-grandparents...
Yeah, I don't know who that is.
I don't know who they are anymore.
You don't know...
I knew my great-grandparents, some of them.
Yeah. So even in your own family, you don't know if you're looking at in-laws, cousins, direct ancestors to you. You don't know. They're just fucking people. It's one of the things, like, you know, I don't have any children. And for a while, they kind of, like, fucked with me. Like, man, I don't have any descendants. But then I started doing the math, and I was like, well, after a couple generations, they're not really related to you anyway. You know?
Well, after a couple generations, everyone's related. Yeah, or you're like, it's just as closely related to, like...
That's what I was saying.
You know what I mean?
After about 4 generations, those descendants are about as related to you as just some other motherfucker walking down the street who's the same color of you. It maybe not even that.
Well, maybe not even.
Because there are some people that are related to you that are in other races, and they're more closely related to you than somebody of the same race as you.
Because it all depends on what line they came from.
Right. Not to say that race isn't a reality. There are some people say, race isn't a reality. No, race is a reality. Fucking, we even saw it in the army and medical stuff, you know what I mean? Fucking, you can tell. There's different parameters per race. But what we mean is that some people in these other races are a lot more closely related to you than you think they are.
Yeah. I mean, it's not as big a deal, I think, as people make it
and
out
then there's people inside your own race that are not fucking very related to you at all.
Yeah.
So it's weird.
Yeah. Somebody's asking about... Somebody said I'd want a painting more like the poster on the back myself. Yeah, that's the Cody and the Well, it's just called the Barbarian.
Just called the Barbarian.
It's actually, it's not a poster. It's actually on canvas. It's printed on canvas.
Yeah, that's a Frazetta.
Yeah,
I love Frank Frazetta.
Our friend Sophie sent us.
Yeah, Sophie sent that, and Sophie's gonna come visit next month. She's gonna be here for 2 weeks.
Oh, she is coming?
Yeah, she's coming.
Oh, okay, cool.
She's gonna fly into Sanford Airport, so she'll be a guest on the show.
Nice.
You guys will like Sophie.
Like in a couple weeks.
Yeah, she's a trip. She's a cutie. You see her.
Is it gonna be over my birthday weekend?
Yes, it will. She'll be here for your birthday.
You know what? We're actually going to be, the Strange Realities Conference, which I usually play a commercial for. I think my set is gonna be on the Friday night, September 25th. I'm not sure exactly what time. It might be like later in the night, maybe 9 or 10 p.m. But the next day, the 26th, is my birthday. And so we are actually going to be live streaming an episode on my birthday.
Okay.
So we'll have to have a really good topic for that. I'll have to see what everybody comes up with on the poll.
I'm hoping that Florida will lax up on the lockdown so we can go to fucking mannequins.
Yeah, we might be able to.
I'm hopefully, they're open anyway. It's just, I fucking hate that mask shit. Fucking, I don't know how strict they are, but...
Well, you just have to wear it, unless if you're drinking, you don't have to wear it.
Yeah.
But, and you can sit outside and drink.
It'll cool off a little bit, hopefully, too.
Well,
not much.
I don't know about that, but it doesn't.
She's always fucking busting my balls about fucking temperature. I'm like, it'll cool off, right? She goes, no.
No.
I'm like, fuck, don't tell me that.
How long have you lived here?
Tell me it will fucking cool off. It's been about over 10 years. I just try to, it's my fantasy.
Yeah, mine
too.
That
it will cool off.
But I know it's not going to.
Fuck.
It doesn't usually, it might, sometimes in October, November, sometimes it's cool, not cool enough to need a sweater, but cool enough so that you're not sweating your balls off in the morning and at night. But, the daytime is still kind of uncomfortable.
It's so fucking hot and nasty that I haven't even been riding my motorcycle this summer. I'm just like, fuck.
I don't blame you. I haven't put all that fucking armor on and go out and bake
muggy.
in the... I
got fucking 3 beautiful motorcycles. I fucking never ride them anymore. Got 2 Buells, all custom built shit. A Buell, got a fucking 72 fucking Honda fucking Trail 70, fucking bored out to fucking 140. My dad's old bike, it looks brand new. I should have entered that shit into a fucking contest for fucking custom build. That bike's a fucking show bike. It's a little bitty show bike. It weighs 50 pounds. And can go almost 70 miles an hour. It's fucking hairy. You just pick it up. I'm talking about motorcycles.
Yeah, it's kind of it's adorable, but it's kind of terrifying.
Yeah, it's this cute little mini bike that can go nearly 70. I think 68, 67. And I got on that front brake one time and did an endo fucking in the garage and fucking flipped the bike over. I hit the ground first and caught it. Like that. It was... And it didn't get a scratch on it either.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Because you spent a lot of time restoring it.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So let's travel back in time to September 9th, 1598. And there's this little village called La Petrella del Salto. Not that far from Rome. Well, 100 kilometers. How far is that? That might be far. I'm not sure how far a kilometer is. So, it's morning time.
Hold on.
What?
Beth Owens is asking a question. Her husband wants to know what I'm drinking. I'm drinking silver tequila. It was Sam's brand silver tequila, all right? If you want good fucking silver tequila, you get Milagro, all right? But if you want Milagro for cheaper, you get Sam's. It's that same fucking thing. It's silver Milagro. I love fucking Milagro. It's better than fucking Jose Cuervo Silver even. But it's Sam's silver, and Rockstar. I like that Rockstar energy drink.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
With tequila, though.
With tequila.
So weird.
Fucking right.
Two things I don't like
Yeah,
together.
it gets you drunk and energetic at the same time. It's like the speedball.
Just what you need.
It's like the speedball of alcoholic drinks. It's an upper and a downer.
Oh, 70 miles. 100 kilometers is 70 miles. Okay, so this was 70 miles from Rome. That's what we're talking about. I forgot to Google it. Because usually when I take notes, because I'm using, for most of my notes, Murderpedia has like several essays about Beatrice Cenci. But I'm using this one in particular because I just liked the way it was written and all the details that it had. And I usually try to go through there and, fix all the distances and stuff and... do currency exchanges and whatever else I have to do. But I forgot to do it in this particular case. All right, so there's this woman named Plautilla Calvetti. And she was in her house, and she heard a commotion outside, like in the morning, September 9th, 1598. So she goes out in the street, is like, what's going on? And somebody yells to her, they're screaming in the castle. Now, the castle was called La Rocca. Now, this was the residence, one of the residences, kind of like the summer home, I guess, of Count Francesco Cenci and his family. This was where he would go, like, to get out of Rome when he would get into difficulties, which he often did, because, like I said, he was a giant asshole. So there's screaming coming from there. Now, it turned out that Plautilla Calvetti actually worked in this castle. She was like a housekeeper type of person, which is why everybody kind of came and said, hey, somebody's screaming from there. So Plautilla comes out, and she sees Beatrice Cenci, who at the time, even though the legend says this poor girl was only 16 or 17, when they found papers much later on with her birth certificate or her birth announcement and all this other stuff, it actually turned out she was 22 when her father died. So not quite as young as she'd been portrayed as. So Plautilla sees her up there, like at the window looking down. Now, they say, so she comes up to the crowd and she says, what's the matter? And they said, Francesco Cenci is dead. Now, his body is laying in this, it was like this bunch of scrub brush, like underneath. It was like the castle went up like that, and there was like windows, and then there was like a wooden balcony type thing. So he's down in this like warren, or this like down in the bushes, and there's like kind of like this small kind of ragged hole like up in the wooden balcony. So at first glance, it looks like he has fallen through the balcony to his death. But, that's not what happened. So it was about a 40-foot drop. I did remember to look up that distance.
He must have weighed enough to where a 40-foot fall would kill him.
No, that's not what happened.
Okay. Because I'm not sure a 40-foot fall would kill.
It wouldn't. No, not necessarily. But like I said, that's not what happened.
It would bust you up, but I don't think it'd kill you.
So they get a bunch of ladders, because I guess they couldn't get into, like, I'm trying to picture what this place is kind of still standing, but it's mostly a ruin. It just kind of looks like a rock outcropping at this point with just like a little stone kind of shit sticking up. But so the guys get the ladder and they kind of climb all over in there, and they make like a stretcher and they bring the body out. Now, one of the first things they notice is that the body, even though apparently it just fell because there was just screaming, is not really all that warm anymore, meaning that the dude has probably been dead for a while. So they take him to this kind of the pool, like on the grounds, and they start washing him. And then they notice that on the side of his head, there were 3 rather significant wounds. 2 of these on the right temple, one of which had completely destroyed his right eye, I believe. And then a big one that they said was, quote unquote, a finger long. Now, they have actually, this is very interesting to me, because apparently they have like a bunch of witness statements, because a bunch of people, like, everybody knew who this was, like everybody in the village knew who this was. He was really famous, in town. So it's like when he died, it was like a big deal. So like everybody came running and they wanted to see what was going on. So there's like tons and tons of witness statements. And I laughed because one of the witness statements, one of the women that was like helping to wash the body, her name was Dorothea. And apparently she did not like the dude. So she kind of thought it was hilarious that he was dead. And apparently a bunch of witnesses said she was like sticking her finger in the wound. Like, ha ha, you're dead kind of thing. Which I thought was very funny. So, so a lot of the other witnesses were just kind of like, what? Yeah, bro, that's a little like creepy or whatever. Now, so like I said, because the body was already cold and because there were these interesting wounds on the head that did not look like wounds that had been sustained in a fall. I mean, this is Renaissance era Italy. This isn't fucking CSI Renaissance or anything like that, but it was pretty obvious that the dude was already dead when he fell off, quote unquote, fell off the balcony. They also noted that the hole in the wooden balcony landing was not big enough to have accommodated him because he was apparently kind of a big dude.
Okay, hold on. There's shit we gotta sort out.
Okay,
let me see. First of all, Louis Hernandez asked me if I've ever had Tres Generaciones tequila. No, I've never had that one. You can send it to me. Let's see what else. That's how I'm gonna get free fucking tequila. All right, then let me see. DJ Maniac said he got his Pliskin shirt, and thank you. All right, yeah, we sent those out.
Yeah, we've been sending them out in waves.
Yeah. Graham Townsend says, "What the fuck's a foot in meter?" All right, man, a foot is 12 inches long. It's about like that. There's about 3 feet in the meter.
Yeah, roughly.
Okay. Roughly 3 feet in the meter. So what? 40 feet is about what? 40 feet's probably about, what, 6 meters?
Yeah, 6 or 7 meters.
6, 7 meters, about that.
Yeah.
It's, 2 stories. About 2 stories.
Yeah, I know, sorry.
But maybe not from...
I learned the metric system in school, but I don't remember it.
You have to understand something. The metric system is too effeminate for America. We got...
He's so obsessed with stuff being effeminate.
Yeah, it's all about machismo. Okay, like here's an example: Fahrenheit. All right, you guys are use these fucking effeminate Celsius and shit where things freeze at 0. No, fuck all that. Okay, fuck all that.
We just want random numbers.
No. Fahrenheit is based upon the fucking temperature of human blood.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the standard. How hot is human blood? It's like alchemy, man. Yeah, it's alchemy is what we're talking about here. And that's the way we're going to keep it. And that's what sends motherfuckers to the moon. Okay? That shit wasn't done in the metric system. It was done in fucking alchemy.
Except for that one mission where they were supposed to send something to Mars or something and they missed because they forgot to do the conversion. They didn't do the conversion right,
but that wasn't our fault. It was their fault. They gave us some shit in an inferior measurement system. Okay, this is the American imperial system. It's a fucking empire. An empire. The empire of America. America. That's how you say it. Go ahead.
DJ Maniac said the ticker is new. It's actually not. Yeah. I actually started doing it a long time ago, but I just kept forgetting to put it on. So because I'm an idiot.
Alex laughing that I said this Celsius was effeminate. I have.
It's all soft.
It's soft, effeminate, sophisticated European shit, man. That's just no. America's not like that.
We're just a bunch of dummies.
It's like here. No, America is like the Klingon Empire. It's yeah.
Or something.
Yeah.
I don't want to. I don't want that for it.
It's a cross between the Klingon Empire and Idiocracy. If you ever seen that movie, so it got some of that in it too. But that's our superpower. You can't reason with us. That's just not gonna work.
Yeah, because we're idiots.
Yeah, we're not. We're not reasonable. Okay.
DJ Maniac also said, "I'd watch the fuck out of CSI Renaissance, as would I."
Yeah.
Somebody really needs to make
putting
that
leeches
shit.
On people.
Right.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah. But yeah, so they weren't completely stupid. They were like, look, the hole's too small. The dude's body's already cold. These head wounds clearly came from something other than a fall. And also they noticed that he had like this really interesting bruise on his wrist that looks like maybe somebody had been like holding him down or fighting with him. Also, they thought that the wounds in his head looked like they'd been made with something like a hatchet or a pointed iron, whatever the hell that is. So I guess it's like some kind of, like an iron spike or some shit like that. I don't know. So, so...
See, they're saying, Tom, the imperial, that system is a British system and we have moved on. No, you guys bent a knee. You took the knee and fucking gave up your traditions and your science. That was British science, okay? Fuck all this other people's science. It was British science. Kind of like how sometimes men have science, where it's just a science for men. Just, it's called...
Man science.
It's called bro science, all right? It's in every fucking gym out there. It's about how much roids to take. It's called bro science.
Uh-oh.
What's up, Pokey?
Pokey has arrived.
So I forgot where I was going with this. Fucking cat comes in. All right?
Good girl, Pokey.
Don't worry about all these fucking measurements and everything, all right? Let us handle this. We know what we're doing. We're American.
I don't think you should let us handle anything.
No, let us handle that shit. We're American. Oh, the reason why this shit exists is because we have a lot of machines here that are in all that system, and we have all the tools to do it. And so, to fucking make full conversions, it is slightly kind of being weeded out over time, but some of these machines are old and they're still working and you have to use all that stuff. And then sometimes it's just a thing of arrogance. It's like, fuck you. We don't want y'all fucking foreigners working on our shit. So we're going to make it with tools you guys can't even fucking work with. That's another thing,
It's an entire country fueled by spite.
Yeah, spite is part of it. It's like,
Spite and immaturity.
Whatever. You call it whatever. You call it whatever. You label it anything
I'm calling
you want.
it what it
you
is.
call it whatever you want to call it.
I'm calling it what it is.
There's something about working on an American car, working on an American motorcycle, and it's all fucking American standard tools. You know what I mean? There's just something about it.
America, fuck yeah.
Yeah. The British were doing that too. They had their own fucking system.
We all got our own system. Yeah, so, okay. Another thing that when they investigated and they went inside the castle to check out the crime scene, like I said, CSI Renaissance, they also found that the Count's bed sheets were all covered with blood. Like someone had killed him in the bed and then pulled him out of bed and dumped him. So not master criminals. We're not talking about master criminals.
They were making it up as they were going along.
Well, yeah, pretty much. I mean, it wasn't like the original plan. So... it came to pass, like, after they started questioning all the witnesses, they started questioning, like, people that want him dead, which is pretty much everybody. They discovered that what the plan was that Beatrice Cenci, who, like I said, was 22 at the time, she was the daughter, Francesco Cenci's second wife, Lucrezia, and there was another son named Giacomo. Now, he supposedly knew about the plot, but was not in town at the time. But like I said, he did know about it, and I think he knew what was going down. There was also another guy named Olimpia Calvati, who was the manager of the castle. He was also the husband of the first woman that heard the screaming, who was the housekeeper. He was supposedly also Beatrice's lover. She may have seduced him into the plot, into killing the dad. And then there was another guy, there was another conspirator that they actually just paid, essentially a hitman. So what they think happened was that the two hitmen, Olimpio and the other guy, I think his name was Marzio, they basically drugged Francesco Cenci. And I don't know if they drugged him to poison him or if they just drugged him to make him easier to manage. I'm not really sure. But it turned out that whatever it was, the drug didn't work. It didn't put him entirely to sleep, and he ended up waking up. So the two guys go into his bedchambers, and they either bashed in his head with a hammer, or they took an iron spike and hammered it into his head until he was dead. And then they threw him over the balcony and put a hole in the balcony, in the wooden balcony, to make it look like an accident. Obviously, they didn't do that good a job of it. And as I said, the bruise that they found on his arm was indeed from them holding him down while they were killing him. So it was this big fucking mess. Now, the reason that... And here's the thing. When the conspirators were arrested, nobody really thought they should get in trouble. Like, everyone was kind of like, yeah, the dude got murdered, but he kind of had it coming. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like everybody knew about, because here's the thing. Francesco Cenci was well known for, I mean, he had a lot of money. He was a wealthy nobleman. He had gotten into a lot of trouble, even by the standards of the day, and had been able to weasel his way out of it by paying various people off, like paying fines and shit like that. He had gotten in trouble for, I'm not sure entirely what this is, but he had gotten in trouble for, he had a mistress, obviously, and he made her, like, do various sexual things. I'm guessing butt stuff.
Damn.
And, well, I'm just saying, like, from the way that they, like, and then he got arrested, and, like, the charge is, like, unsavory vice or unnecessary vice or something. Like, it sounds like butt stuff.
For all you know, though, with the mentality of the time, it might have just been something, like, real fucking mild, like fucking oral.
It could have been,
or fucking
sure.
titty fucking her or some stupid shit like that. Those motherfuckers had weird attitudes over stuff. There was a situation like this. This is coming to mind. I think somebody in the audience might know what case I'm talking about. I thought it was in the South. There was a dude who was probably like one of the biggest assholes known to man in this small town, and he was abusing a lot of people and talking lots of shit and fucking with people's women and beating people up. And one of these days, the whole town just conspired to murder him.
I know exactly who that is.
Yeah.
Ken Rex McElroy.
Okay. Yeah, they murdered
I wrote about him in my book.
Yeah. They murdered his ass, and some people...
in broad daylight, in the middle of the street.
In the middle of the street, that's right. Didn't they
shoot him? Yeah.
And I think people were charged, weren't they? But no one was charged, no convictions.
Because
nothing.
no one would admit anything.
Yeah, that's right.
And the whole town, like, saw shit.
Fuck around and find out. Fuck around and find out.
Seriously, that dude was a fucking dick.
This is fucking America. You fuck around and find out what happened. I
think it was in Missouri or something. It was a long time ago. Yeah. It was actually like in the 50s or 60s, I want to say.
These little towns, you know, like fucking where my dad was from, like fucking Heidelberg, Mississippi and shit. If you get enough enemies in that town, you're dead meat. But they almost always fucking get the right man, though. They know who they're dealing with. Just relax. Leave it up to them. They know what's up.
Yeah, Victor Garcia said the documentary Skidmore is about. That's right, Skidmore, Missouri. That's what it was. Yeah, I wrote about it in my book. Yeah. He was just, I mean, he really... Yeah. He seemed to, like, revel in just being a fucking asshole to people.
And that was only one egregious example. There's lots of that. It's just that was one of the cases that came up. There's lots of that shit that's happened. Yeah. I just don't think it was necessarily in broad daylight, the whole town in on it. More like in kind of secret, nobody liked the dude and a few dudes took care of it. I think that happened quite a bit.
How it ended up happening, it was in broad daylight. It was the middle of the day. Apparently a whole bunch of people had gathered like at the town center or whatever, and they said to the sheriff, it's like, look, you're going to do something about this dude. It's like, you know, he's done this, that, and the other thing. He shot a guy. It's like, you know, this old store grocer guy, and he was just like this real like giant asshole, and he kind of like reveled in going around the town going, I can do whatever I want, blah, blah, blah. You know, and he never got in trouble because he would intimidate like anybody that would that would stand up in court against him, so he always ended up getting let go. So basically the sheriff was like, well, look, I can't do anything, but I'm gonna go out of town for a little while, wink wink.
Yeah, and you guys take care of that
and
shit.
And then they said, oh, and by the way, him and his girlfriend are over at the bar if you want to like do something about that. So yeah, it's like he had been in the bar drinking. It was just like afternoon, I think, and he just got in the truck and like somebody just fucking shot him from the street, and nobody would say peep. Nobody has said anything to this day. Nobody would give up the person that it was, because
Oracle Mom says
everybody hated that guy.
Oracle Mom says, the old saying goes in Texas, he needed killing. And let me tell you something. That's not just Texas. My dad has actually used that fucking phrase from Mississippi. That was quite common. He needed killing.
Yeah, I've heard it as
well. And that's just, for some of you foreigners up there in these foreign savage lands, they don't understand how certain shit happens on the small town level, especially in some of these rural areas, you know, down south and shit. Every now and then a motherfucker needs killing, and they take care of it. That was an example.
Well, see, I think that the reason that the case of Beatrice Cenci has like survived and was like so, taken up by all these artists and stuff like that was because her dad, Francesco Cenci, he wasn't just fucking her over. He was fucking a lot of people over. Everybody hated the dude. And he was definitely somebody that needed killing. And so they kind of nutted up and did it. And then they got executed in horrible ways. So I think it was like a big injustice. Because the whole like point of a lot of the plays and stuff and operas and shit that have been written about her was that, the difference between the regular law and like the moral law. Like she was probably in the right because he was a terrible person and she took him out.
Hazuki's a good name. Says, hey, a long-time listener, first-time commenter. Love your podcast. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The name, good name. I'm just going to call you good name. I can't pronounce that first part. Too drunk.
Already?
Hazuki's going through the thing. Go ahead.
Yeah. So, where was I? Oh, yeah. So, other than like him having a mistress and doing weird shit with her, like that's not even like unusual by any standards. However, he also got in trouble for molesting young boys on several occasions.
Yeah, he's a bad fuck.
And he also beat his wife and daughter, starved his servants, did other things. There are part of the legend is that he was raping his daughter. I'm not sure if that's true or not, but even if it wasn't, he's still not.
He was still eligible for
He
killing.
was still, some of the...
Alex Rivera said, this reminds me, I looked up the inbred family Tom was talking about. That was awful. You thought shit was fucked up, wasn't it? That dude barking like a dog. And then you go and he's pointing into the ground where his fucking brother was buried. That's fucking weird shit. Go on YouTube and look up inbred family. Fuck.
Yeah.
It's up in the fucking Appalachian Mountains, fucking several generations of inbred people. God. It's bad.
Yeah.
It's like the hills have eyes.
So one thing, like, according to a lot of the servants that were at this house, because this, castle in particular, La Roca, this was not their regular house. This was, like I said, this was their summer house. And there are actually, it's suspected that he was keeping his second wife, Lucrezia, his daughter, Beatrice, and the youngest son, who's, I think his name was Bernardo or something like that. I have to look it up in my notes. He was only 12 or 13, that he was keeping them essentially prisoners there for whatever reason. They think that it might have been either because one of his oldest daughters, essentially tried to sue for emancipation. She wanted to marry without his permission, but still get a dowry, and the courts agreed with her. And so he was mad about that. Or it might have been that Beatrice had gotten pregnant by her lover, who was one of the conspirators to kill him. And so he might have been pissed off about that. So one of the things that really stuck with me that the servant said that he would do was that he would walk around this house. And like I said, he's keeping his wife, his daughter, who's 22, and his 12, 13-year-old son essentially prisoners in this house. Like, he won't really let them leave and shit. So one thing that he would do, he had something that was like scabies or mange or something like that. And he would make his daughter essentially scratch his balls, like, what I mean, with a stick and stuff like that. Also, the servant said that he would walk around just like in a shirt and like short, like undershorts or whatever. And if he had to piss or shit, like, his daughter had to like bring the fucking bucket and like sit there with it, like, while he was making them do that. And he would whip them and like do all kinds of stuff. So like I said, he was a piece of shit. I mean, everybody hated the dude. I mean, you can see that, like,
he needed his ass beat.
When he got killed, like, even that woman that was washing his body was like laughing at him and sticking her fucking finger in the wound because she was like, hey, you're dead, kind of thing. So it's like everybody hated the motherfucker. Yeah. He was just well known for being a terrible person that never got in trouble because he had money. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's another dude just like this. You ever know that famous painting of that fucking dude in the fucking 1700s outfits like that? And he's pointing at the fucking painter and he's fucking smiling and and he usually writes some funny meme caption.
Yeah.
What's that guy's name? Do you remember that guy's name?
I can't remember offhand, no.
Anyway, it's a famous meme. You'll see it, where he's fucking pointing at you and smiling. That dude was a fucking asshole. When I first saw that, I thought maybe he'd be fucking funny and cool. Nah, motherfucker was a serial rapist. He raped men and women that worked for him. He did all kinds of fucking weird. He was like this dude, like that, exactly like the dude she's talking about. He was like that.
Yeah.
And when he died, everybody breathed a sigh of relief. They hated him.
Yeah, it's like, please try in your life. Just try to be. Don't be the person that when you die, everybody's like, phew, good riddance.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's all.
Well, it was dudes in the aristocracy. They didn't have any physicality to them, but they had all this fucking rank and they could fucking abuse people. But
well, they knew nothing would happen to them.
Nothing would happen to them. They didn't really live in a world where people broke the rules and whipped somebody or murdered somebody. You know what I mean? To fucking restore justice. They didn't have Batman. That's what it is. They didn't have Batman back in those days.
Well, yeah, but I mean, essentially, in these days,
yeah.
I mean, Francesco Cenci, he, not only, like, he had two sons that were older. I think they were just as, like, kind of assholes like he was. They both got killed in duels, like, before this happened. Yeah. Like I said, he had another daughter that was just like, fuck you, I'm out of here. So it wasn't just like them. It wasn't them just imagining it.
Batman did not appear until the French and the American Revolutions. That's when Batman, and they were out of control. But that's when that shit started. That's when these dudes fucking got their issue.
Yeah. Well, like I said, yeah. I think that might be another thing that contributes to Beatrice Cenci's ongoing legend is that she basically, even though she was only 22 years old, this pretty young girl, and she was basically like, look, my dad's an asshole and I'm going to do something about it. And she actually got... I mean, her stepmom was involved too, because she also hated the dude. Now, she was the one that came up with the poison to kill him, and it didn't kill him, and that's why they ended up having to...
What year was this again?
1598. He was killed.
So you're not talking about societies that have equal representation, you know what I mean, under the law. That was the fucking problem, and that's really what caused all the revolutions that gave birth to the modern world. If you were part of the aristocracy, you were a high-ranking male, you could do whatever you wanted as long as it was to a person that was lesser than you in the hierarchy.
Yep.
Later on, we came up with the concept of fucking equal representation of the law where everyone had access to the fucking legal system. So, and that took a while for that shit to be sorted out. And it wasn't really fully sorted out here in the United States. Really, you could say to the 60s, and even...
Well,
sometimes
even now,
later.
It's still not, because...
it's a constant fucking battle.
If you have money, I mean, obviously you can get away with shit.
That's
if you're poor, you're going to jail.
That's another thing.
I hate to tell you.
Yeah, if you're rich, even here in the United States, you can do whatever you want.
You can get away with anything. Yeah. So it hasn't really changed.
You can buy your way around it.
I mean, at least nowadays, people know... I think back then, it was, like, more widespread just because it wasn't as... You didn't hear about it as much, and it wasn't as... sanctioned, I guess.
If you're one of these fucking ultra rich and powerful and dirty child island men who did not fucking kill themselves, if you're like one of these, they're doing shit that was happening in the fucking Renaissance and the Middle Ages, medieval period, even back to the Roman period. I see that shit with the fucking little St. James Island. That just reminds me of the fucking island of fucking Capri and shit with fucking Uncle Nero and shit. Running around with his little fishes, his little fucking little kids and shit, and throwing them off. You know what I mean? Doesn't that remind you of that?
Yeah.
Just Roman sex islands and shit. That's what it reminds me of. It's bizarre. I couldn't believe that shit was really going on.
Yep.
It makes you wonder how much more of it there is.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, bad shit's probably more widespread than you think, but maybe not as widespread as you think if you're, like, really pessimistic.
Well, I'm not trying to imagine more of it. I'm just wondering how much more of it there is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I bet you there's a lot more.
Yeah, maybe.
And there's no telling what's going on in, growing up in Brazil, seeing that shit and growing up in Brazil makes me wonder what's actually going on in fucking places like Brazil, South America. Because it'd be even easier to get away with it there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and people are going to go where it's easier to get away with shit.
Yeah.
Nobody won't...
What you doing, Poop? Don't walk across shit. She'll walk right across the keyboard.
Well, she doesn't know. She's like, I don't know. It's warm.
Like, I don't know what those little soft things are.
And it's like neat little... She actually, when I had that one open the other day, she was trying to pull the buttons off. She was like putting her little paw underneath and going...
Yeah, why is that there?
She's like, what is this?
Yeah. She's like very curious little
She's
thing.
Fascinated... You know what else she's fascinated with? She's fascinated by that little piece of tape that you put over your, like...
Yeah, over the
camera, like on the tablet. There she is, the top of her head.
Any piece of tape, she's going to try to pull it off.
Yeah, for some reason, she's like really fascinated.
Like, you can't have tape. I ought to just start sticking tape on things so she can pull tape off.
Yeah, but she'd be super into that.
She'd be super into that. Yeah, I'll pull the tape out.
I told him, I said, "What? Don't we have like an old broken tablet that you can like just stick tape on so she can just pull it off?"
She loves it. What's this tape do?
I don't know why she's so fascinated with that tape, but yeah. So obviously, since this wasn't the most expertly handled crime in the world, but you got to give them props. They did kill the dude, right? But they got caught pretty much immediately. So, as I said, it turned out that Lucrezia, the mom, or stepmom rather, she was the one that had made the poison, and they had essentially hired two hitmen, Olimpio Calventi, who was the castle manager, like I said, and this other guy, Marzio Catalano, who they had just given money to like help out with the shit. And Beatrice was also in on it, and according to most witnesses, she was kind of the one where, because I guess the hitmen, when they initially went in there and like the poison wasn't working and the dude was waking up and they were like, oh shit, let's like abort. She was like, no man, do it. You know what I mean? So apparently she was the one that kind of like, girded their loins, I guess, and like got them to go through with it when apparently they didn't really want to.
Gotta go.
Okay.
What you doing, Pook? Stop. She's chasing me.
She's like, where are we going? So they all get arrested. All the family get arrested. They also arrested Giacomo, who was the brother. I believe he was older. Was he older than her? Or I don't know. But he was the brother. Even though he was out of town, they did determine that he was in on it, and he confessed, even though the confession was under torture, as a lot of things were, even in this time period. So I don't know how accurate they are. But they did torture all of them, and all the confessions came to light. It should be noted, though, that Beatrice Cenci would not confess even under torture. She kept saying that she was innocent and that it was an accident, and she would not give it up no matter what they said. So the judicial process takes about a year. Now, the two hitmen subsequently died before they could be essentially like brought to trial or whatever. Olimpio Calvetti, who was Beatrice Cenci's lover, he had taken off and like gone into hiding. However, he was found by a bounty hunter who killed him with a hatchet, like cut his head off. Now, Marzio Catalano, the other hitman, the one that they had hired, they actually put him in a prison and tortured him for confession, and he actually died undergoing torture. So both of the people that had actually killed the dude, died before the big trial could take place. Now, 10th of September, 1599, was execution day. So they lead Giacomo, Beatrice, and Lucrezia out on the thing. Like, so the two women are like walking, they have like their mourning clothes on or whatever, and they let them walk. They didn't have any like ropes, or they weren't tied up or anything like that. Giacomo, however, they put on a cart, and they were pretty much like torturing him the whole way, like to the execution place, which it was like an execution parade, I guess, which is pretty fucked up. But that's what they were doing. They were just like torturing him the whole time. So this happened at a place called Castle St. Angelo, which is on the banks of the Tiber River. So yeah, so they have the cart, they have the two women, they're going to the place. Now, Giacomo, even though he wasn't even at the house when his dad was killed, he didn't know about it, or so he said, like under torture, but they decided they were going to execute him anyway. Now, him being a man, they decided they were going to make an example of him. So they basically, while he's going through the streets on a cart, they're like tearing his pieces of his flesh off with like heated pincers. They put him up on the block and smash in his head with a sledgehammer, and then draw and quarter him, and then like kind of hang the pieces up for everybody to look at.
He was dead after the fucking blow, right?
Well, I hope so.
Yeah.
I'm not really entirely sure. I mean, that's fucking fucked up, right?
Yeah.
Holy crap.
That was justice back in those days.
I guess. Now, it should be noted that even though, like, a lot of the common people of Rome, like, when the death sentences for the family came out, like, a lot of the common people were like, hey, man, it's like, you know, Francesco Cenci was a fucking douche. It's like, why are you...
Yeah.
Like, we're glad he's dead. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, be reasonable.
But, that's what everybody said. Like, you know, everybody kind of rallied to their cause. Yeah. However, it turned out that old Pope Clement VIII, there had been, I guess shortly before this, there had been another case of, I believe it was a son that had poisoned his mother or had killed his mother, like, to get his inheritance or whatever. So the Pope didn't want there to be, he thought that, now there'll be like this big rash of like familial killings.
Yeah, rash of patricide.
Of stuff like that. Yeah. So he wanted to make an example of these people to like stop it, even though like, which is dumb. But
it doesn't work.
No.
It doesn't work.
Well, that's why it's dumb.
Right.
And also it's dumb because there were obviously mitigating circumstances and everybody knew it.
Right.
So it just seemed like, so the Pope was just being a real fucking shit stick in this, I have to say. I mean, you know,
well,
but you know, he was saying there had been another case like for money. So
the church had a difficult job. They're trying to keep order in a fucking basically lawless society of a bunch of people that were, let's admit it, man, it was kind of savage times. So they're trying to set some kind of an example. You could really only rule those people by fear. If you like that book you're talking about, if you kind of research the way those societies operated, they were tough, you know what I mean? You couldn't deal with the average person. You had to fucking use some kind of fear to keep them in check. I mean, you had intelligent people, but a lot of them weren't intelligent. It's like anything else. What was that book about the better fucking angels of our nature and shit like that?
Steven Pinker, I think.
Yeah, that's... So I can kind of understand that the church had a very difficult job. They're trying to keep order out of a bunch of disorderly people. There's no way to fucking have a uniform application of the law. No professional police, no professional investigative fucking abilities, you know what I mean? No forensic CSI shit, you know. No real court system. Everything was done by intimidation. You know what I mean?
Well, and that's the thing. You could do some shit like, I mean, and even in this time period, you could still do some shit like happened in the Salem witch trials, where you could basically just come into a court and go, "Hey, there's ghosts flying around the courtroom, and they said that she did it." And everybody's like, "Oh, I suppose so." Yeah. So what are you gonna do? You can't fight against that, can you?
So, on an individual level, he fucked these individuals over. I'd have let him go, but I also understand that they would have lost control.
But I mean, that's what everybody said, that they should be let go. Yeah. I mean, so it wasn't just kind of thing where,
if I was a pope, I would have had a different. I would have had a third option. I would have punished them, but it would have been a lesser punishment. That's what I would have done.
That seemed like the better way to go about
it. But
this,
they didn't think that way back then. They were very extreme. They either fucked you up or they let you go. There wasn't anything in between. That was kind of the trend. I mean, sometimes they made exceptions. That's what I would have done. I would have just said, I would have come out as the Pope.
And be like, hey, that wasn't cool.
But say, we're going to have to put them in service to the church for about 5 years. That's what I'd have done. They had to pay penance. And then, you bring them into a convent for a couple years and then let them go. Something like that.
Because, like I said, I think everyone would have been happy. I mean, the case that he was thinking about, that he's like, oh, I don't want to set another precedent like that. Yeah. That was a case that seemed, I couldn't find a lot of information on it, because apparently it was so common that it's like nobody even remembers much about it anymore. But apparently that was pretty much just done for like financial reasons. Like the son just like off and his mom, who was a countess or something like that, just to like get his inheritance early or whatever. So I don't feel like there were any mitigating circumstances in that case from what I could determine. So it seems like it was a really different case. I mean, this was a case where obviously this dude was despised. Even at the time where dudes could get away with a lot more shit, everybody hated him and talked about what a shithead he was and how abusive he was. And no one was sad that he was dead. Not a single fucking person. And it seemed like everybody was like rallying to the cause. It's like, don't execute them. It's like, no one's sorry the dude's dead. It's like, he's dead. Good. It's like, life goes on. So everyone was like kind of upset about it. And I think it helped too, let's be honest, that Beatrice was 22 and was probably pretty hot.
Yeah.
I mean, if she'd been like an ugly hag, I don't think she would have gotten.
What are you doing? Hey.
She wouldn't have gotten as much support, and that's just the truth of the matter.
Looks are very important. Perception is reality. A lot of people.
Well, yeah, the optics of that, because she looked like this innocent young girl. It's like, look, the dad's been doing this, that, because he did shitty stuff to all of his kids and his wives and like people, his servants and like other people. So it wasn't just her, but I do feel like the fact that the legend grew around her in particular, was for that reason, and also because there were
what the fuck, Book?
What is she doing?
Pawing on a book. Come here, no.
And also that there were whiffs that he was raping her, there was incest, and that she was trying to quote unquote defend her honor or
probably was.
So he might have been. I'm not really sure, but I do think that might. Sorry, it's very distracting.
Yeah, I had to. She's gonna tear shit up.
What are you doing, Pokey?
She feels neglected, so she's trying to get attention. Okay.
We love you. It's okay.
She's purring.
Aww.
She got what she wanted. You wanted attention, didn't you?
Yeah.
You wanted attention, didn't you?
Aw, poor Pokey.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Giacomo gets all this. He gets all fucked up, like drawn and quartered and everything like that. And if you go to like, there's a museum, I guess. I saw it on Atlas Obscura, I think. And there's like a display that's about her and about like the execution and everything. And they even made like a little diorama of like this little naked man being like drawn and quartered. And I'm like, okay. And they even have the sword there that they like fucking, it's like fucked up. But yeah, so all that shit happened to him. And then Lucrezia, the mom, and Beatrice were beheaded with a sword. Now, apparently, Lucrezia she fainted before she got beheaded, which was probably a mercy. I don't love, because this is kind of fucked up, but apparently one of the newspapers or one of the public things about the execution at the time said that Lucrezia had a hard time like settling her head onto the beheading block because of her boobs were too big.
I wonder if it was true.
I don't know. I don't know if they just said that or if that was just some salacious little detail they wanted to add.
Sounds like fake news.
I'm like, that sounds like some fucked up.
You're like, dude, she was gorgeous. They were going to behead that chick. As fine as she was, over her bad dad who was doing this and that.
Well, this was the mom. This was the stepmom.
Oh, okay. Is that what it was?
This was the wife.
All right. It don't matter. They were going to behead her. She put it up there, and them things are so giant, it was like a pillow. You know, and I can imagine it.
She couldn't even put her head on it.
Couldn't put her head on it.
People have not changed.
Yeah.
Not one bit. But yeah.
Although they're probably trying to make it sound salacious, and what it really was is that she was extremely obese.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't see a lot of descriptions of Lucrezia, even though she like got fucked over by the dude as well. Like apparently he beat her up and all this other kind of shit too. But I guess since she wasn't as young and pretty as the daughter, then
I think nobody
hears about her.
I think the rationale was that they didn't want people going out killing their dads because he was an asshole, and what they wanted
because there'd be a whole rash because like lots of dads are
assholes.
Yeah.
And then and I think what the message was supposed to be was if you got a problem with your dad doing this shit, come to us, the church, and we'll handle it. That's probably what the message was.
Except they wouldn't. How the hell are they going to handle it?
They would have handled it.
They're not going to do anything.
They would have handled it in the way the church would have handled it. They would have got the guy and they would have said, "You stop what you're doing. You need to pay penance. We want fucking 5,000 gold pieces, or you're going to fucking hell."
And he's like, "Okay, here." And then he just goes.
Yeah, that's what would happen. That's what would happen.
Like I said, there is something to be said for Beatrice just being like, "Fuck that shit." I'm almost like, I'm tired of this bullshit. Yeah. Let's fucking stab the dude and throw him off the fucking balcony. And she did it.
They didn't plan it right.
No, they probably could have planned it a little bit better, I gotta say, because they got caught pretty much immediately.
It must have been done.
She's 22, man.
It was done in the heat of the moment. It was done in the heat of the moment.
It might have been. I mean,
it wasn't a plan. It was more like a manslaughter.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm sure that they had talked about it prior to that, but because there were like 5 conspirators involved, but I don't know if they were planning on doing it that particular day. Maybe it was just kind of like that day, and they're like, "Oh, this seems like a good day. Let's do it." Yeah, you know what I mean? And then they're like, "We're not ready." And then they just did it anyway, and they kind of fucked it up.
They're all in there talking about cats will not be ignored, and Pookie doesn't understand. Pookie doesn't understand the internet. No, she doesn't.
She doesn't. She's like, why are you guys just sitting here talking to the light box and not like?
Well, they don't know what. Yeah, this is just a light box. Why are you talking to a light box? The light box doesn't do anything. I'm over here. Let's play.
She's like, the light box isn't as cute as me.
Yeah. There's no concept of other thousands of people watching. There's no. That's not in a cat's.
Yeah, she's smart, but she's not that.
She's not that smart. Cats don't know what the internet is. She thinks we're just talking to each other, looking at lights.
Yeah.
Which I'd imagine that looks crazy as shit.
Yeah, she probably.
She's like, they're insane. Fucking crazy.
She's like,
I've been looking at those lights all day.
And it's like, they're not petting me. They're not like walking. They're not playing with me in the closet. I don't understand. But yeah, so they cut Lucretia's head off and they cut Beatrice's head off. And again.
Do you want a drink?
Yeah.
I'm going to get you some of that tea.
Okay. We'll see if that's any good.
We'll see if it's any good.
Because I'm out of orange juice, so I didn't know I had to go get orange juice today. Forgot all about it. But yeah, to give Beatrice her props, she not only didn't confess to anything under torture, she also just like went to the chopping block like a G and let him cut her head off. So, Now, pretty much as soon as the execution happened, like I said, she had a lot of the public was on their side, in their favor because everybody hated that dude. So I think that kind of had to do with why her case in particular has like endured, I guess, when maybe some other people haven't. Although I should say that, I mean, the case in Italy particularly was well known from then, but I think there was this one particular book. And it was written by this historian named Ludovico Antonio Muratori. And he wrote essentially like a history of Italy or something like that. And he wrote it in the 1740s. And in that book, it seems like a lot of the threads of the stuff that would become the legend about her were kind of planted. And they think that Percy Shelley actually read this book, and between that book and between the supposedly Guido Reni painted portrait of her, that was what inspired him to write his poem about her, which is just called the Cenci, which, like I said, was the inspiration for many other things subsequently. So it does seem like, okay, so the thing about it though is that one of the main aspects of the legend is the whole incest thing. Now, it should be noted that during the trial, Beatrice never said that her dad had raped her or was, engaging in incest or anything like that. She didn't really say that until the end, and they think that it might have been her lawyer's attempt to try to get a lighter sentence or something like that. And they didn't even say, I believe it was Lucretia that said, she didn't even say that Francesco had raped her, but that he had threatened to, or that he was going to, or the way she worded it was kind of strange. So it almost seemed like that it hadn't happened, but it was going to happen, or he had threatened to do it. Which, like I said, that's not good. That doesn't, but, and I'm not saying that because he didn't do that all the other shit that he did wasn't bad enough for her to want to kill him, because it totally was. But I'm just saying that that's become like such an integral part of the legend about her, like the whole incest thing, and she was defending her honor and stuff like that. And also that she was a teenager when she was actually somewhat older. And they're not sure entirely, if that happened.
I thought it was good.
Oh, yeah.
Nice, huh?
That is actually very good.
Yeah.
It'll be gingery. But yeah, so it wasn't really mentioned until the end. Now, they did have some witness testimony at the trial from some of the other servants in the house that said that they remembered at least one night when Lucretia, the wife, had been, quote unquote, kicked out of the bedroom, and that Beatrice later said to the servant that her dad had come into her bed and she had like told him she didn't want him in there. So I don't know if that means that he was doing that or if he had threatened her or whatever. But like I said, it's not good either way. But it was just like a little more gray than has been previously said. Also, there's an interesting thing that they found out when somebody, like a historian, went digging through and found like her will. She had actually been allowed to make a will like a few days before she was executed. And she left like a whole bunch of money to various charities and churches and stuff like that. She also left kind of a mysterious amount to a friend of hers as alms, quote unquote, to take care of a poor boy. She's like, and essentially she said, you know, I told you about that shit verbally, you know, and if she dies, then, you know, give it to somebody else to take care of this person. Now they're speculating that she might have had an illegitimate son.
Sounds like it. Which
might have been the reason, one of the reasons why her dad was mad and essentially imprisoned her at La Roca. They're not entirely sure, but that seems to be the most reasonable because she was having an affair with Olimpio Calvetti, one of the, who was the castle manager and one of the conspirators, like one of the guys that had killed her, killed the dad. So, whose wife was also like the housekeeper, but yeah, she was like having an affair with him. Son. So yeah, so there's the speculation is that she had a son with him and her dad had like taken her and had like secreted her away at La Roca because of that, because of the pregnancy, because of the shame and all that kind of crap. And, you know, so that's
he might have not known who the father was.
Maybe not. Although it seemed like all the servants knew that the two of them had a thing.
Right.
So maybe they weren't like keeping it as secret as they thought they were. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if the wife knew or not. Maybe she didn't give a shit. I'm not sure.
All right, everybody hit that like button, please. Hit that thumbs up button.
Yeah. But it's interesting that, so like I said, I feel like a lot of her enduring legend of, you know, her being like a virginal teenager, which she wasn't. She was a little bit older and probably not virginal. But like I said, that doesn't make it any less horrible, like what ended up happening to her. It's like, you know, should she have killed her dad? Probably wasn't the best idea, but you can't really blame her. I mean, you know.
Well, there wasn't any kind of law or law enforcement to take care of her.
What else was she going to do?
There was no equal representation under the law, no equal defense under the law. Under those particular circumstances, I'd have fucking off that fucker.
I would have too.
Because he's imposing upon the human rights of others.
That's what I mean.
And there's no recourse through the law to take care of that. So what you do is you knock that fucker off. And that's why a lot of bad shit happened during that era. That's... The law, even though it doesn't work all the time, was a way to ameliorate all this shit.
Yeah.
But even to today, here in the United States, you have some people that are so good at the law that they can circumvent it and commit crimes at the same time. You have to have Batman there sometimes to go, look, and like that guy, like the cop in that town, this guy is circumventing the law and breaking the laws at the same time. We know who he is. He's a danger to the community.
Well, and they couldn't hold him on anything because everyone was afraid to testify against him.
So in a case like that where everybody knows what's going on, it's a small community, vigilante justice happens. And is that the right thing to do? Not legally. Morally, though, it might be. Just because it's legally incorrect doesn't mean it's morally incorrect.
I kind of feel like that was the case here. And I feel like a lot of the subsequent stuff that's been written about her... you know, all the plays and operas and stuff have focused on that very theme.
That's the thing.
And she even says that, like in one of the plays, I think it was Alberto Moravia, he wrote a play about her in the 50s, and that was one of her quotes was that, I'm paraphrasing, but essentially, you know, your law says that I did it, but I have a higher law, and it's like, you know what I mean? You can't convict me on that because she was morally correct because she took him out.
Theoretically, laws are supposed to be moral. But we know that lawmakers are politicians, and how much morality are you really fucking... How much morality are you really going to get out of a fucking lawyer or a politician? They're about one and the same here. Not much, in general. They're just not much. They don't have a good track record. They're like everybody else, you know. They have the same inclinations as everybody else. And here in the United States, the lawyer class really is the new priest class. And they do a lot of the same shit that the old priest class used to do. You know, when you have the magic spells, you tend to make the magic spells work for you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's really all the law is, a bunch of magic spells. You read some shit out, and you pay some money to the gods, and then all of a sudden you could build a building there. It's magic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah. It's just a different interpretation of magic and religion. It's the priest class. That's exactly what it is.
Oracle Munn says, as his daughter, wasn't she essentially his property? Yes, she would have been, because she was not married.
Right. And ask yourself this. That's legal, but is that moral? I don't think so.
Well, no, obviously.
I don't think so.
Honestly, I don't even think that children underage can really be considered your property to any great extent. I mean, yes, you have the rights to make certain decisions for them, but there are some decisions that I don't think you have the right to make for them once they get to a certain age.
As soon as you hit 18, they're free.
Yeah, and it's like you really shouldn't involve yourself in their fucking life anymore.
Yeah, well, no.
I mean, just, you know what I mean, like interfering with like how they're living or whatever. It depends. If they don't want you to.
Right.
And I think that was the problem, and I think she knew, and we'll get into this a little bit too in the Giulia Tofana case, was that, yes, she was a poisoner, yes, she killed a lot of people, and she sold poison that killed a lot of people, but in a lot of ways, murdering your husband back then was kind of the only way to get out of shit. I mean, women didn't really have any rights. You couldn't, like, divorce him. It's like if he was beating you up or doing whatever he was doing, there wasn't a lot you could do about it. You know what I mean? You could either, like, sit there and take it, or you could, like, fucking off the fucker. Because you couldn't, like, report it to anybody. They wouldn't do anything.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Because you were essentially property.
Once you know the laws, you can get that to work. You can work to your advantage, really no matter who you are. All right? When you had guys like this back under that old system, they would say, he would just go, I know what he was thinking. He was like, the only thing they're looking for is this, this, and this. All right? So I can do everything else. Everything else I can do. I can have her hold my shit bucket while I'm crapping in it.
Yeah.
That the law says I...
Maybe that's why they thought of these, like, weird, really weird, like, creative things, because they were trying to, like, circumvent...
That's what they're doing, yeah. A criminal circumvents shit. A master criminal knows the law. A master criminal is a lawyer. That, you know what I mean? That way he can manipulate the law. This is something that civilians haven't figured out. Some of them have figured it out, but if you're a criminal and you commit crimes for a living, you better have some badass fucking lawyers, because they'll figure out how you can do it, or to fucking protect yourself.
Yeah. Or
you should be a lawyer. That's another thing. If you're a lawyer, you have power to commit crimes and get away with it. Because you know how to circumvent, and you know how to protect yourself from the investigative techniques. It's all kinds of shit you can do. Organized crime families have fucking lawyers. Just like, here's an example that a layman would understand. If you ever watch fucking The Godfather, they had consiglieres, and the consiglieres were lawyers. The mob had its own lawyer. Think of that.
Well, yeah.
You have to. You have to have your own lawyer. Because half of your battles are going to be fought in court. So every time you commit a crime, you go to your consigliere and say, I'm going to kill this dude, this and that. And he's going to, okay, all right, yeah. Make sure you do this and this and this, and don't do this and don't do that, and hire and get this guy to do this and this and that, and yeah, that should work out. And that's exactly what they do.
Yeah.
That's what organized crime means.
Yep.
Yeah. And this guy here, he's kind of dirty. We'll send him a few thousand, and then this guy over here, we'll send him a few. It'll all work out. That's what they're doing.
I'm laughing at the comments. Medieval marriage vows. I'll hold your crap bucket.
Yeah.
And I'll scratch your mangy balls.
Yeah.
Holy crap. But yeah, so...
Is that the end of that story?
Well, wait. No, like I said.
Okay.
So, like I said, the most famous painting of her, which, like I said, that's it right there. By Guido Reni. Maybe not her, or at least not painted from life.
Looks a little idealistic, if you ask me.
Yeah, this is another one of her. That's supposedly of her.
That kind of looks like the same woman. It might be.
Yeah. There's a bunch, and then there's that's a drawing.
Yeah.
I have a bunch.
That's supposed to all be her?
Yeah.
I bet you one painting is based on the next.
It probably is, because, that's like a statue of her that's very famous. Now, I will say, here's something that's interesting, though. is that the very, very famous Caravaggio painting, and Caravaggio is actually one of my famous painters. If you don't know, I actually did like a sort of illustrated novelette that's sort of about Caravaggio, because he killed a guy. He murdered a dude. He had a very interesting life. So I wrote kind of like a thing about him, like a fictionalized kind of thing about him that's illustrated with his stuff. But he has a very famous painting called Judith Beheading Holofernes, or whatever, which is right here. Actually, one of my very favorite paintings right there. Very gory. Some people have speculated that this might have a relation back to the case, because they think that Caravaggio might have been at Beatrice Cenci's execution. He was certainly in Rome at the time, and he was kind of interested in the case, so they think that he might have used that like as kind of a statement on her, you know, on her execution, like how he didn't agree with it or whatever. So some people have speculated that might have something to do with it also, which there's more evidence to support that than there is about Guido Reni painting that portrait of her from life, because that was, you know, I'm not saying that's not her, I'm just saying that they don't think that there's any way that that particular painter had gotten into the prison and painted her like that she posed for it. That's all. So I don't know if that's really her, but that seems to be like the image of her that people have. And like I said, people that talked about her did say that she was actually very beautiful. So like I said, it does seem like the legend of her that has come down to us is kind of based a lot around your 18th, 19th century romantics, you know, particularly Shelley. Like Stendhal wrote about her. Antonin Artaud from Theater of Cruelty. Bauhaus wrote a song about him. He did a play about her. So, you know, she's a very famous person, and there's like streets named after her in Italy. So she's still like kind of, you know, a celebrity, like a historical celebrity.
Hold on 1 second.
What?
Mango Badger, you deleted a guy from the chat room by accident?
Whoops.
He accidentally, I think he's telling me it's hard to say. I think he's telling me that he accidentally deleted a guy from the chat room just for saying first.
Harsh. Although I do hate when people do that.
Yeah.
Especially when they're not first. I mean,
I think that's what he's trying to tell me.
They weren't first.
Yeah.
Because I saw that too, and I was just like, oh, whatever. I didn't think anybody did that. I thought that was like
evidently was an accident.
I thought that was like a thing that you did back in like 2005 or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
They're right.
Do you want to do like commercials or something?
Do a commercial
like that?
break.
Are you sure?
Yeah, if somebody got deleted from the chat room, I don't know how to undelete them.
Yeah, I don't know how to do that.
Yeah.
That's so old school. It is first.
That's all he said, though. Well, that doesn't mean anything. He can say first.
Even though, like I said, even though they weren't first, maybe they were. Well, like I said, it was an accident. I wouldn't delete it.
I guess it was an accident.
Wah wah.
Yeah, you got it wrong. Don't delete somebody for saying first, bro.
I didn't think anybody did that anymore.
Don't worry about it, man. Whoever got, I don't know how we undelete.
I don't know.
That dude might be out there still, because we got one thumbs down. That's probably him.
It's like, hey, some asshole like deleted me from just for saying first. I was trying to be funny. Yeah. Oh my god. But yeah, all right. So you want to do a commercial break?
Go ahead and do a break.
And then we'll talk about a lady that poisoned a whole bunch of people.
Yeah.
But maybe rightfully so. I'm not really sure. We'll see. Might have been a situation like this one where the dude had it coming. You know what I mean? I'm just saying. All right. So let's do some commercials so we can do whatever we need to do. And we'll be back in just a couple minutes.
Join us September 25th, 26th, and 27th for a 3-day special streaming event, Strange Realities, to push the limits of your reality. Featuring authors, academics, researchers, occultists, experiencers, podcasters, and practitioners. All presenting fresh cutting-edge material and research. Streaming live. Featuring presentations by
Brent Rains, editor of Alternate Perceptions magazine. Aaron Gulias, host of the Saucer Life podcast. David Metcalf, writer and researcher. Alan Greenfield, author of Secret Cipher of the Euphonauts. Stephanie Quick, writer and blogger. Red Pill Junkie, 14 researcher and explorer. Tim Banal, host of Banal of America. Guy Malone, iconoclast and troublemaker. Timothy Renner, host of Strange Familiars. Kiki Dombrowski, author and practitioner. Greg Bishop, author of Project Beta. Jenny Ashford, host of 13 O'Clock. Recluse, host of The Farm. Jack Montgomery, Folk Magic. Joshua Cutchin, author of Thieves in the Night. Reverend Michael Carter, Alien Contact Experiencer. Dr. Future, host of Future Quake. Tony Kale, author of Memphis Hoodoo. Rin Collier, occultist. Soraya Askath, host of Where Did the Road Go? And John Tenney, Ghost Stalkers in Hell.
All 3 days, only $20. Tickets and info available at strangerealitiesconference.com. Brought to you by the Conspiranormal Podcast. Conspiranormal.com. Strange Realities.
You love true crime. I love true crime. And I've spent the last 3 years compiling a series of the most intriguing unsolved murders of the 20th century. It's called The Faceless Villain, and Volume 3 is available now. Featuring such fascinating cases as the Keddy murders, the Carrie Babies case, the Frog Boys, the Alcasar murders, and the Inokashira Park dismemberment incident, The Faceless Villain Volume 3 is an involving exploration of unsolved slayings spanning the years from 1980 to 1999. Pick up your copy in print or ebook formats on Amazon, or download the audiobook version from audible.com, and get ready for a chilling journey through modern crime history.
Folks, what's up? You know I'm pointing at you. You know some shit's up with it. So you're just gonna keep your eyes closed, huh? Alright. Alright, do it then.
All right.
Yeah, we're back. We're trying to figure out how to undelete somebody who was silenced in the chat. I'm sorry if one of the fucking moderators
It was an accident.
blocked you for saying first. That's some lame shit.
It was an accident.
Yeah, we can't see the control on how to unblock you.
And I'm like afraid to push anything.
She's afraid of accidentally ending the stream.
Because I don't want to do that. So I don't have to start over at this stage in my drunkenness. It's going to be really...
I don't know. Hey, Mango Badger, do you have any controls on your shit to unsilence him? I don't know. But go ahead and continue this. The show must go on.
Yeah, like I said. All right. So the next thing we're going to talk about is this lady named Giulia Tofana. Now,
Mark just said first. Is that the guy? Is that the guy?
Oh yeah, maybe it is.
Is that the guy?
Maybe
he's back. Okay. All right. Okay.
All
okay.
Right. It's all right. You're all right.
If you thumbs down me, bitch, take that thumbs down off, Mark. That wasn't my doing.
I told you there's always one thing. Oh, I heard the door creak.
Pookie throws the fucking door open like a fucking Wild West fucking saloon motherfucker walking in.
Like a G.
She's gonna. What were you gonna say?
I don't remember.
Doesn't matter.
I'm sure it doesn't. Please don't walk on the thing. Please don't walk on the thing. Okay. Be careful. I'm always trying to like. All right. There she goes over there.
They're going. Yeah, that's him. All right.
Sorry.
All right.
Mark First is back.
All right.
Now you're gonna be known as that forever. Sorry.
Yeah, Mark First. Okay.
Oh well.
Okay, let's go on.
All right, so we're going to talk about this lady named Giulia Tofana. Now, I actually never heard of this woman before. She's not even on Murderpedia. I don't even remember. Oh, I found her, like I said, from Wikipedia, people that were executed by the Holy See. She was right after Giordano Bruno, who we should actually do a show about, too, one of these days. I was actually going to add him to this one, but I was like, nah, he needs his own show.
So now, if everything that she confessed to is correct, then she is indirectly one of the most prolific serial killers in history. As I have said before, I am fascinated by poisoners. I don't know why, because I don't know, maybe it's just because I'm like kind of into chemistry, or I'm into like the stealthiness of it.
I think it's because it's women.
Well,
it's women killing men. That's almost always. She got this thing, man. It's like this feminist murder. It's
I do like that aspect of it.
It's a feminist murder thing. It's like, I'm not going to stand up and fight you. It's going to be like a bitch fight. I'm going to fucking give you some shit, and you're going to die later, and everybody's going to feel sorry for me that you died.
Well, it's a win-win.
Yeah. I understand it.
I'm telling you, that's what I'm telling you. There are
women are evil.
Well, no, there are women serial killers too. Although I have to say, it's, what is it, like 90%, 10% men, or maybe 85-15.
It's the men serial killers. They're all serial rapists. It's about sex. It's about
women. It's about practicality. Yeah. Usually.
Yeah.
Usually.
Money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't usually kill a motherfucker unless they're gonna get a bunch of money out of it, or unless they're a real douche.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mostly money. Looking at the history of it.
Or you do have the occasional weird person that just like likes to kill old people, like in like nurses and stuff.
Yeah,
just because they have, it's like a weird emotional thing, like they like to take care of them or whatever.
Yeah, and they think
Munchausen by proxy kind of shit.
Yeah, and I also think it's the kind of thing that they're an angel of mercy, that they're releasing them from sickness.
That too,
and
I think there's a little bit of it.
The afterlife.
Alex Rivera says poisoning is feminine like Celsius.
It's feminine. Poisoning is feminine like Celsius.
It's the perfect thing, because if you do it right, you can get away with it.
Yeah.
And like I said, not only we get the dude's money, but everyone will also feel bad for you.
And it's not feminine, it's effeminate. Okay. Feminine is a fucking... Oh, whoa. Look at the kitty in the way. So you're trying to hog shit, huh?
She's like, I'm the star of the show.
Yeah. Turn around and look at the camera.
I'm the star.
Feminine is just a fucking female quality, and of course that's awesome. I love feminine women. Effeminate is a man that's like a woman. Okay? It's like if you saw Mel Brooks' History of the World. It's like the French dude from that. Remember the fucking Bernays? Remember Bernays?
Bernays.
Don't get saucy with me, Bernays. Yeah. You know, he was effeminate. Okay. Hold on, I'm gonna get the cat out of here. Come here, Pope.
She's like, what? I'm just sitting here.
No, you're in the way of the camera. Come here.
She's like, what? I'm not doing anything.
Come here.
She doesn't.
She's mad. She's like, don't fucking touch me.
She's like, this is my spot, jerk.
She's like, don't fucking touch me.
You're all right, as long as your big old head isn't in the way.
Right.
She actually has a little tiny head.
Yeah.
It just looks really big.
But yeah, poisoning is effeminate. It's bitch-like.
Well, no, because you have to think that in a lot of ways, and apparently, like in a lot of these cases that I'm going to talk about now, the women didn't really have any other recourse. Like they couldn't, like the dudes were a lot bigger than them. They didn't have any legal rights. They didn't have anything like that. So it's like, well, maybe if I put some poison in his food and like it looks like an illness, then I'll be free and I won't have to like go to prison, or just, you know, nothing bad will happen. So she can just go on to marry somebody else because, oh, boo-hoo, the dude just died of consumption or whatever. Yeah. So, you know, it was making the best of a bad situation, I guess. So, yeah, so Giulia Tofana, this was the 17th century, so a few years after the Beatrice Cenci case. Now, when she got caught, she actually confessed to not killing 600 people directly, but being responsible for the deaths of 600 people through her poison business. She was also an entrepreneur very early on in the day. And she got away with it for like 20 years. Because she was just that good. But yeah. So, like I said, now we're talking about 17th century Italy here. This is early 17th century. As we said in the case of Beatrice Cenci, women were still essentially property. A lot of them were just married off for money, for dowries, for whatever. They didn't really have any particular rights. You know, they couldn't... I thought men could divorce, but I don't think women could. I guess they could run off, but it's like, what are you going to do then? So
there was a lot of shit that was happening outside of law. Lots of it, okay? Just because it was a law didn't mean that that's what the norm was. I've studied my history. The church was in charge of a lot of the law. But there's a lot of shit that the church wrote, and this going back to this period, especially in the Italian fucking scene and everything, is that the average person didn't follow any of this shit. None of it. At all. They were not even, what do you call it? They were not prudent. In other words, they didn't keep it in the pants. They were fucking wild. The average person. And evidently fucking children out of wedlock was pretty rampant.
Well, yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, it was not. It's not like what you think when you're kind of...
Because they weren't real slick on the birth control.
No.
They had some, but I don't think it worked all that well.
And for the most part, according to what the sources that I read, and these are church sources, the average person was not even married. Okay, they had all kinds of children, and they weren't married. So, don't project too much on what you're seeing here. This is only between the wealthy a lot of the times. Well, pretty much the wealthy followed these rules.
Well, the sad thing about it, though, is that I think a lot of times, shit we know about history, a lot of it is based on people that were at least upper middle class. Yeah. Because you didn't hear about what happened to poor people because nobody wrote the shit down.
According to the church, the poor people actually were a lot more like us. They did whatever the hell they want. They were
because
they were pretty liberated. And for the most part, evidently, the church didn't care what they did.
Probably not.
It was only with really the fucking upper class that was being managed.
Well, because they were the ones that were getting money. They were the ones that were getting money out of it.
And they were kind of considered to be the important people or the real people. Everybody else was kind of like a fake person.
Well, yeah, you were like subhuman.
Yeah.
If you were poor.
Right. But, looking back on what they had to do, I'd rather be a fucking subhuman. I'd rather be a fucking peasant. And I wouldn't be working. I'd be one of these dudes fucking living out in the fucking woods. I'd be a highwayman or something. I'd just be stealing shit.
Well, I told you, I read a book a while back. Yeah. I think it was just called Courtesans. Yeah. And it was about the demimonde, kind of high-class prostitutes, essentially.
Yeah.
In society, like in Europe.
They were probably better off than anybody.
And in a lot of ways, they were. Yeah. I mean, they could get away with stuff that married women in society could not get away with. And reading that, I was like, it would kind of suck to be a prostitute. I would not like that at all. But if it was a choice between that, having your own pad, having like shit tons of money, having like hanging out and partying with like the literati and stuff, I would much rather do that than have to be some respectable wife just like, pumping out kids and like not doing anything to like upset anybody.
It's just like today, in Southern culture, you hear all this shit about racism of the past, especially in the South. But these are mostly kids and fucking people that are after the 1960s. They didn't really know what the South was like. Yeah, there was racism, but it wasn't racism like you think it was. Some of the freest women some of the freest people in the United States, period, were fucking New Orleans octoroons and quadroons. Okay, and there's a lot of, they were the geisha of the New World, really. All kinds of books are written about it. They had white women pretending to be octoroons to gain rights or to gain abilities. There's a lot of shit written about it. All you guys got to do is research octoroon balls and quadroon balls. And that whole octoroon, quadroon cultural phenomenon. Because they were octoroon or quadroon, which is 1/8 or 1/4 black, they fell into a gray area of the law and in society where they kind of achieved freedom. And they were kind of the mistress or the geisha of the South. It was a ticket to life in downtown New Orleans in an upper scale apartment and fucking kind of what you would, and a man that in a relationship where the guy actually loved you and a family and kind of what we would consider to be like a normal life. Because in the Southern aristocracy of that time, relationships between men and women were all arranged and they were about money.
Well, yeah, I feel like marriage up until relatively recently was always like a financial transaction, essentially.
The rich Southern man did not choose his wife. That was arranged to him through his family. That was who he had to marry. And it was about a merger between Southern empires usually, or rich Southern families. This is rich people. There was no dating scene or freedom or anything. the only freedom that the Southern man had when he had money in terms of relationships was that he could choose a mistress.
Yeah.
And legally, the only mistress he could choose were these quadroons and octoroons. And that was a relationship based upon love more than anything else. So he loved the mistress, not the wife. The wife was just given to him.
Well, like I said, I feel like that's happened. And I'm not saying, obviously, nothing is, across the board, but I do feel like,
in general,
even going back to, before the Middle Ages and shit like that, and I'm not talking about peasants and stuff like that, because I feel like those people, I don't want to say they were freer than other people. In some ways they were, but in a lot of ways their lives sucked because, they didn't have any money or
no power,
resources or power.
Yeah. No legal system to protect them or represent them.
So that sucked.
Right,
but in a lot of ways they didn't have... once you got into, higher classes, they had a stricture of shit that they had to put up with, particularly women. You didn't really... I feel like poor women probably had a little bit more freedom than upper-class women, a little bit.
Yeah. And then what you hear today a lot, they're condemning all of American culture based upon the situation and the history of the fucking Old South. It just does not compare. You cannot compare the Old South with today, even back in those days. The culture of the Old South had more in common with feudal Japan than it did with the rest of the United States. It was very much like feudal Japan. It's all gone now, though. It's it's not a problem. It did not survive the war, and even before the war, it was already vanishing. But they just keep bringing that up over and over and over again. That's long gone. You know what I mean?
I have a book somewhere. I don't know where it is. Maybe it's up in the attic. But it was all letters and all kind of documents from women of that time period. Yeah. And it's fascinating. It's a fascinating look at their day-to-day lives. And stuff. Which, like I said, I would not have wanted to live back then. Fuck that. No. But yeah, so...
No, it would have been boring by today's standards. It would have been pretty boring, especially living in a town.
Well, everything would have been... Like I said, it's, it was different for men. They always could do more shit.
It was boring for them, too.
No, I'm not talking about boring. I'm talking about, just being able to, live and, do what you wanted. I feel like women didn't really have that luxury.
Back in the 1800s, the only really exciting lives, if you ask me, and this is everything based upon what I've read from people that were there, would have been out in Indian territory. That's where the action was.
Well, that's what I thought.
But you were going to probably get killed if you weren't on top of your game out there. And you had to go through a process that was called going Indian. That's what they called it. You had to become an Indian, basically. And those dudes were fucking on top of their fucking game. All right, it was no joke. It's raining.
Oh yeah, I guess so.
Fuck, we just got hit by a storm.
Came out of nowhere.
Yeah,
I just
this
heard
is
it.
Dagobah. If I were to go back in a time machine into the old America, I would have been Jeremiah Johnson, basically. That's what the kind of shit I would have done. Would that have been fun? No, but it would have been adventurous. But I'm used to the field. It'd been like in the army.
Well, the thing about it is that you have to consider. Well, would it have been more fun, or not maybe more fun, but less sucky than more mainstream kind of life?
Yeah,
and it would have been probably.
I think mainstream life would have been suckier.
That's what I said.
Especially in a city, places like New York and on the Eastern Seaboard, terrible. Can I have some more bread, sir? There's a fucking, you know what I mean? That's some Oliver Twist shit going on out there. You know what I mean? People were dying in those cities of starvation and disease. Bad. Very bad. Clean living was out in the field with the Indians. The mentality of the Native Americans was a lot more what we would consider to be reasonable in some cases, depending on the tribe, the nation. There were many nations. There wasn't one Indian nation. There were lots of them. She's part Native American. So, fucking, you know what I mean? Fucking Jenny. Well, Jenny's not big into that culture, but pretty much people...
My dad is, though.
Pretty much anybody who's been here in terms of family...
Because his grandpa is...
Who's been here longer than 4 or 5 generations, you're gonna be part Native American. That's just... They all bred in. And they were just as diverse as European societies. There were a lot of different Indian nations all fighting each other and outsiders, and it was a bunch of fucking changing alliances and stuff. And they were kind of like the pirates of the high seas, especially out in the Great Plains, like the Lakota. All right? You could not be a pussy and be a Lakota. I'm getting off track. I'm drunk and I'm talking about Indians. Let's go ahead and back to the.
You always seem to.
I know. I can't control it. I can't control it. It's that traditional man crush on the fucking American Indian, man. Those dudes were fucking. Well, they were the Conan of the New World, man. They were the Conans of the New World. Good.
Everybody liked your Oliver Twist impression.
Did you like that?
Please, sir, may I have some more?
May I have some more, sir? That's the fucking way. That was kind of the culture where white people came from in that era.
I just kind of thought of like fucking Tiny Tim then from Christmas Carol.
Yeah.
And God bless us, everyone. Yeah. So, all right. So, like we're saying. So 17th century Italy, like I said, we're not talking about peasant women, unfortunately, because they don't usually get talked about. We're talking about women in kind of like society, quote unquote. They didn't really have a lot of options. I mean, you could pretty much get married, which, that was kind of the option, and be supported and be someone's property. Or you could stay single and be a hooker. Or ideally, which a lot of women liked, they could be a wealthy widow. Except to do that, you first had to get married, and then you had to bump off the husband.
Yeah, and then you get a boyfriend.
Then comes... That's where Giulia Tofana's business came in. And like I said, she wasn't the only one. There was a lot of other women providing these types of apothecary services on the black market for women that were just like, I need to get out of this situation. And I don't really have a lot of options. So, I'm just saying she saw a gap in the market and exploited it. So now, like I said, poisoning was like pretty fucking widespread. So because poisoning is, I think one of the reasons that I find it so fascinating is because you are murdering somebody, but it's not, you don't have to do like, you don't have to get all yucky about it. You don't have to cut their head off. You don't have to dismember them in the bathtub and get all dirty and stuff like that. You can just slip some shit into their food and they'll maybe just get sick and die. And it's just kind of like, you can just waltz away from it. You know what I mean? So there's something very appealing about that, I guess, for a lot of people. But it's so there had been a lot of that kind of shit going on. Like I said, I think I mentioned this on one of our other poisoning shows. Was it arsenic that's known as the inheritance powder?
Yeah.
I think in France they call it the inheritance powder. I think
it was.
Because it was so widespread that people were offing their relatives.
They knew about it.
With the poison that they were... Because there's a point where you get to where you can't really you know that they probably did it, but you can't prove it. You know what I mean? That's another thing. Plausible deniability. That's is another thing that poison gives you. So, Giulia Tofana, they don't know a lot about her background or her childhood or anything like that. But they think she was born in Palermo in Sicily around about 1620. Now, her mom, so Giulia was a chip off the old block here. Her mom, Tofania, was also executed in 1633 for murdering her husband. So, Giulia was like, hey, that seems like a good idea. I think I'm going to carry on mom's work, I suppose. I don't know if the dude was a dick or whatever, but she did get executed for killing her husband. Now, Giulia Tofana apparently, allegedly, also killed her first husband. I don't know if she killed him or if he just died of natural causes, because people dropped dead all the time back then, which, like I said, is another reason why poisoning was so effective, because people were dropping dead of disease all the time, and who can tell the difference? Now, she had a daughter named Girolama. So she, after her husband died, under probably mysterious circumstances, she moves to Naples, and then she moves to Rome. And she decides that she's going to go into business for herself, selling poisons, but she's not selling them as poisons, because that would be crazy. What she does is she makes this concoction, and she disguises it as cosmetics. But it's kind of a thing where everyone kind of knows, they come in, they're like, hey, I want that new lipstick shade. Wink, wink. It's that kind of shit. So she's doing it on the DL. Now, apparently, this, so she gets her daughter involved. She gets some other co-conspirators, some other women that are working with her. So she starts gaining
a reputation around Rome as, hey, you want to get rid of that abusive husband of yours? Go down there and buy some lipstick. You know what I mean? And like put it in his food. So she would put it in like these really nice bottles that looked like different cosmetics. You know what I mean? So she wasn't like stupid. Yeah. She knew what she was doing. So they also, they think that they might have also got a priest in on the action to kind of like give him some legitimacy, I guess. Like they don't know if they don't know exactly if he was in on it. If he was just like a friend of theirs.
He's got to keep having a fresh supply of souls.
I guess
coming in. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And he's probably handling burials.
Well, he was supposedly the guy that was like their arsenic supplier.
Yeah.
Which I don't know how you get to be the arsenic supplier for a poisoner business, but apparently this dude managed it. Yeah. What she developed was this poison, which she called aqua tofana. Now, like I said, she packaged it so that it looked like various like youth creams or like, for one time, which I thought was particularly ballsy, she packaged it to look like kind of like holy water. Like she was selling like a bottle of holy, like it was all pretty and shit. I was like, nice, I like your style. But yeah, so she did that. They're not sure exactly what... I mean, aqua tofana has its own Wikipedia page because it's a very famous poison, and I'll get into maybe one of the reasons why later on. They think that there was arsenic in it, there was probably lead in it, and there was maybe belladonna in it, but they're not entirely sure like what the combination was. They do know that it was tasteless and colorless, and that it could be put into food or drink, and that you would have to administer it over several days, and it would mimic the symptoms of several different diseases. So it didn't look like an obvious poisoning. You know what I'm saying? So that's why she got away with it for so long, because, like I said, this was like fucking 17th century. People are dropping dead all the time of, various diseases, and it, looked like one of those. So, yeah, so she had, like I said, she had the shit that looked like perfume bottles and all this other kind of stuff. Like I said, the shit that looked like holy water was actually called the manna of St. Nicholas of Bari, which was like a healing oil or something. So... And the nice thing about it too, so you can tell I'm kind of like admiring her gumption, I guess. Not only did it mimic the symptoms of a lot of very common diseases, but also after the person died, you couldn't really detect it. So this was some good shit. Like I said, they're not entirely sure what the proportions of the stuff was. They know like roughly what the ingredients were, but not what the proportions were. And it was in a liquid. So you would give the first dose. They usually put it like in their soup or in their wine or whatever. So the first dose would just make them like really tired and like really weak. Then they would give them a second dose, and then they would start having like, they would get really thirsty. They would have stomach aches, vomiting, that type of stuff. And then the nice thing about this too was that since the person was sick and it took several days for them to die, the wife could make sure that she was in the will and like make sure that everything was sorted out to her satisfaction before the dude died. You know what I mean? So he didn't just like drop dead immediately. Like it took several days of him being like really sick and everything. So you would then you would administer a third or fourth dose over a couple of days, and then that would kill the person. And then in a lot of ways, and I guess that Giulia Tofana like maybe suggested this as well, was like, hey, like for extra shit, why don't you go and like demand that there be a post-mortem, because they won't find anything. So you'll be free and clear, you'll look super innocent, and you'll get all the fucking money. Everyone's a winner. So that's kind of like what another service that she provided as well. Now, Giulia Tofana did this shit for 20 years. 20 years. That's how good her fucking poison was. Dang. Because like I said, it just looked like people were dropping dead of disease. It happened all the time. So, The only reason she got caught, I mean, I guess, but she might have got caught for some other reason. The only reason she got caught, or so the story goes, was that in 1650, there was this woman, and she decided she was going to poison her husband. So she went and bought some of the shit. She put it in his soup. And you didn't need much. You only needed like a drop or two. Like, this was really, really powerful shit. So she puts it in his soup. He's going to eat the soup. And as the spoon is going to his mouth, she changes her mind and says, "Hey, don't eat that. I poisoned it."
What? She backed out.
Why would
She got cold feet.
Why would you say, "Oh, don't eat that," like I sneezed in? Or I don't know. You could think of something else other than like I poisoned it. So she said, "Please don't eat that." So I guess what happened was she said, "Please don't eat that." He was like, "Why not?" And he got really suspicious about it because I guess he was a dick. So he suspected that she might have poisoned it. So he like beat the shit out of her and she finally admitted, "Hey, I poisoned it." And so he turned her in.
Wait, so that's an opportunity for a new wife.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm going to get me a new wife.
I'll get a new one.
Yeah.
I'll trade her in for a
Trade
younger
this one in
model.
for a new one. Yeah, what was she thinking?
Well, see, if you're going to go to all the trouble to
better,
go to the woman and buy the poison and put it in the food, you got to go through with that shit.
You better make sure.
You can't just like do it the last minute. Don't eat that. Because he's going to be like, "Why not? What'd you do to it?"
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because if he's a dick, deep down, he knows she probably wants to kill me. So...
There was more to that story. There's more to that story.
I'm just saying, that's how the story goes. The story goes that this is how Giulia Tofana
There's more to that
caught.
story.
So the husband turns this lady in. They torture the lady, as they did, and she finally admits where she bought the poison, which was from Giulia Tofana. So, now what happened? So the cops, or the authorities at the time, start looking for Giulia Tofana. Giulia runs to a church and does like fucking Quasimodo. It's like, "Sanctuary, sanctuary." Now the church had to give you that. So they did give it to her. But what happened was, so she's in the church and they're protecting her because that was what they did. But then somebody started a rumor around town that Giulia had poured the poison into the water supply. And so everybody turned against her. I don't know who started the rumor. This is, like I said, this is just how the story goes. So then public sentiment turned against her, and so everybody kind of like stormed the church and dragged her out, and she got arrested.
They're like, "Fuck sanctuary, kill her."
Yeah. That bitch, she hadn't like poisoned the water supply as far as I know, but somebody started that real, maybe somebody in the authorities was like, "Hey, she," just to like get the mob to like turn against her, and it worked. So they dragged her out. They arrested her, and they started torturing her because they just couldn't stop torturing people. It was so fun.
This was an era where they'd take a bunch of cats and throw them in a basket and then throw the basket in the fire just to see the cats jump out and shit. You know what I mean?
I can't imagine.
Then they would take a bear.
If somebody did that now, they'd be like, "Serial killer.
Yeah.
You're going to a mental home. Bye."
They'd take a bear and tie a damn fucking rope around its leg and put it to us and then stake it into the ground and fucking beat on the bear. You're not talking about modern people. They were fucking crazy.
Yeah, they clearly had some issues.
They all kind of needed their asses beat. You know what I mean? But I'm not sure.
You know what the sad
thing... It probably wouldn't make a difference.
That's what I mean. I was just going to say that they were so used to, like, filth and pestilence and violence that it's like, even if you beat their ass, they'd be like, "Yeah, I suppose so." It's like, they're not going to learn. Yeah. They wouldn't learn. And I don't know why that is, but...
Here's what's funny about the situation. I could say this and not come off as racist because these people are all the same fucking racial group as me. There's something about when you take a barbarian and you take them out of the fucking woods and put them into an urban environment, they get worse. All right? Had you released these people, kind of thinned out the population so there weren't as many of them and released them out into the fucking new world like America, they'd have been a lot better off.
Well, they'd have had other things to do.
Yeah.
I guess.
You can't take people like this and fuck. Human beings are just not built for that. They're not built for. What you doing, Poke? Stop tearing shit up.
She's tearing up all my padded envelopes that I used to send T-shirts in.
Do it.
I have a pile of them over there, and she decided she was going to pull them all out and eat them.
Human beings aren't really meant for urban life. They're barely meant for fucking farming villages. We're unchanged.
We're not really supposed to be alive, actually.
No. Human beings are supposed to be tribal level kind of hunter-gatherers. That's what they evolved as. For fucking hundreds of thousands of years. Stop it, Pook. Stop fucking doing that shit. What are you doing? Look. Then she goes, fuck you. Goes right back to it. She doesn't listen to me.
No, I know.
You need to control your children. Okay? You need to control your children.
She's my child.
She's your child. Yeah, that's how a man's supposed to do it. You put that shit on the woman. These are your children. Okay. Pookie, will you stop it? Look at that shit. Oh, she's tearing it up. No. Look at that shit. Oh, I gotta show that to the people. Look at that.
She loves paper.
You tore it up. Oh, you're in big trouble. You're in big trouble. I took them from you. And she's like, what? What happened?
She's like, why are you being a dick?
She's mad.
It was making a fun noise.
Yeah.
Why are you always fucking up my fun?
Human evolution has not caught up with technology. It just hasn't.
Clearly.
The human being really is kind of unchanged in fucking 6,000 years. Well, it goes up and down a little bit, but only for our point of view. If an alien were to come and look at an ancient Egyptian, a modern person, and a medieval person, they wouldn't see much different in between them. All right. It'd be like a human being seeing the difference between a chimpanzee and an orangutan and a gorilla. They're all apes, And that's what you're dealing with. It's going to take. First of all, the whole fucking city and urban angle. I think that's a wrap. Technology has kind of made that the dead mall of the future. So human beings are going to go back to their normal environment of being in exurbs and suburbs. Everything brought to your house because of the internet. What the fuck do you need a city for? You can do everything from your house now. It doesn't matter where you live. The opportunities are all the same. So that will alleviate a lot of the stress. And then we're going to have to fucking worry about population density. We have to thin out this population density just a little bit. And that's going to happen. You watch. You'll see. It's going to take a couple generations, but it'll all work itself out. All right. That's all I'm going to say, Jenny. Jenny, your child has ripped up these fucking envelopes. Look at all the fucking debris.
Oh, Pokey.
Pokey, what are we going to do with you? She's looking for more.
I'm too permissive.
She's fucking permissive.
Well,
I'm a disciplinarian on these children. What are you doing?
She's
Blue?
Too cute. I can't do anything.
I call myself a disciplinarian. When did you see me discipline that cat?
Never.
I never disciplined that cat. What are you doing, Boo?
Well, it's like okay. I said, I have the big pile of padded envelopes. Yeah. She tore them up, and I'm just like, no, I can buy new ones.
It was only one of them.
It's all right. I have a bunch more. Yeah. They're cheap.
Come here. What do you mean? She goes.
I don't want her to be mad at me.
Well, she's mad because we're doing the show.
Well, yeah, clearly.
She's like, you guys are talking to the lights too much. Come here.
She's making her little.
Come here.
I call her the grumbler.
She wants me to come down on the floor.
She doesn't, like I said, she meows sometimes, but mostly she just makes these little noises. But without opening her mouth.
Yeah.
But it's a different inflection, whatever she means. Sometimes it means, hey, stop touching me. Or sometimes it means hey, come here, we're going to go do something fun.
Let's see how the comments are doing.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so...
Alex goes, wait a minute, bear baiting isn't socially acceptable anymore? Oh, no one told me. Yeah, I never really got bear baiting. I don't know what kind of bears they were doing this to.
How would you even think of that?
It's ridiculous. I don't know what kind of bears they were doing this to. I don't know if they were brown bears or what. An American black bear would run from that. They're
like, I'm noping out of here, bye.
They're cowardly, kind of cowardly. They wouldn't be good.
Well, they're just like, I don't want to get involved. I just want to go through people's trash cans, man. Yeah. I'm just over here minding my own business. Leave me alone. Poor babies. I can't say, like I said, I don't know. I feel like I'm more bothered by violence against animals than violence against people.
She's trying to tear up these fucking magazines that people send us.
You know what I mean? Yeah, you probably don't want to have those.
Okay, you are out of control. You are out of fucking control.
Put her on your lap.
Okay.
You can play with her.
Come here. Now she's running.
She's
Come here.
Oh, Pokey. You are incorrigible. Look at your little face.
You are definitely being bad.
Everybody wants to see you.
Yeah, you are definitely.
Even though you're being a little bratling.
You're definitely being bad.
That's okay. Mommy still loves you. She's like, I'm gonna bite you. I'm gonna bite you.
She's biting me. Okay. All right, go ahead and continue with the show. I got it under control.
Well, that's all she wanted. She just wanted Daddy to pay attention.
Yeah.
She's like, I just want to bite you. You know what she did the other day? Like I said, she knows when the shower runs. Like when she hears the shower running, she comes running like from wherever she is because she's like, ooh, time for closet play.
Yeah.
Because whenever we go in there and like we throw towels on her and roll her around in them, and she loves it.
Yeah.
So the other day, Tom was doing that, and he's like throwing a towel on her. She's like rolling around. She's having a good time. She's like fucking with his DVDs that are in there and shit like that. And then he like stopped, and then he turned around like to look for some clothes or whatever. And she very deliberately looked at the back of his leg as though she was looking for the best place to strike.
Yeah.
And then she went, ah!
Yeah.
Like right on his fucking...
Yeah.
She bit him like right on his... Not hard, but like just right on his shin. But I loved that considering look. Like,
where am I going to bite this guy?
Where's the best... Ooh, that's a good spot. And then she did it. I saw her do it. It was so funny. I wish I had like fucking videotaped it.
We weren't any clothes though.
Yeah.
Can't videotape it.
Well, yeah, that's the problem.
They'd have been caught in the fucking eclipse. That damn swinging eclipse. Okay, go ahead.
The swinging eclipse.
Yeah.
I was, you know what's very funny? I was thinking about that this morning because I said, remember, earlier I was like, oh, get some footage of Pookie, whatever it is she's doing. Because she was just sleeping mostly today. And then I was thinking to myself, oh, I should videotape her, like, doing the closet shit because that's always really funny. But then I'm like, I can't do that because you're always like running around in there naked.
Yeah. I had clothes on.
So I was like, well, I guess we can't do that. So I did actually think of that earlier when I was thinking of like...
She's being fucking crazy. Stop it, Poop. No. Come here. She's like, what's the problem?
Just let her.
I'm telling you, no, come here.
Just let her do it.
She's going to try to tear shit up. Don't do it.
She's like, what? And then she looks at us like
what the fuck? She's like, I don't understand.
So I'm allowed to play with some things, but not other things?
Come
I don't understand. She doesn't understand.
Thank
you, Mango.
Thank you very much, Mango.
15 quid for Pookie.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, keep them flash bulbs fucking coming, people.
We're going to have to, like, buy her some new meat sticks.
Yeah, Mango's the only person that's fucking contributed. If you enjoy the show, please fucking like, share, subscribe, contribute, please.
Also, like I said, if you want to be on Patreon, you get to, like, I started doing polls.
Yeah.
You can, like, choose what the next movie and what the next topic is going to be. So that should be fun.
Yeah, the show.
We'll see how that shakes out tomorrow.
The show is more than half over. If you'd like to contribute, go ahead and fucking send us a super chat. Thank you. Come here, Poke. Stop it. Oh, no, I got you. No, don't cry. Don't cry. I'm trying to get you.
She's like, what was I doing?
Because you're being bad.
Oh.
You're being bad.
Poor baby. All different kind of video with naked Tom running around. That's what I was thinking. It's like
make all kinds of money with that shit. You could.
You probably would with your little tiny butt.
Yeah, fucking be all kinds of gay porn and shit.
Yeah, I will exploit the hell out of that shit. That's right. But yeah. So she tried to go into the church for sanctuary, which worked for a little while until somebody started the whole rumor about her poisoning the entire water supply. Somebody got pissed off. There was a mob. They dragged her out and they arrested her. Then they tortured her, as they did, because that was just what they're like, okay, well, we arrested you now.
Thank you very much.
It's torture time. Thank you, Victor. Thank you. Oh, can you get a 13 o'clock shirt and give $5 to Beijing? I know, Beijing kind of gets
Beijing's
neglected.
out sleeping.
The thing about it is I feel bad about Beijing because she never comes in here, hardly.
Yeah.
She only comes in my office when I'm not in here.
Yeah.
She comes in to, like, steal the toys off my shelves for whatever reason. This morning, she was on her... I came in the kitchen to make coffee, and she was on her little scratching throne. And I was like, hey, princess, what's up? And I went to pet her, and she did that thing. Like, she kept moving her head like,
Yeah, she says, don't touch me.
Don't touch me. Don't touch me.
Okay.
But it's like she wants you to touch her, but then she doesn't.
Yeah, Victor, go ahead and send us send Jenny a private message on Facebook or Instagram. And,
yeah, remind me about the size and the design.
Yeah, the size. Well, he wants 13 o'clock. Okay. And then we got to get your information, your address and everything.
Well, I should have that already.
You should have it?
Because I sent him already.
Okay.
But I just need
What size are you, Vic?
I don't remember offhand.
Okay. Well,
I think I'm more of a Beijing than a Pookie.
Yeah.
I wish she would be on the show more, but it's like she's very... Her personality and Pookie's are like opposite. Beijing is like super aloof. And it's like she'll like come in like, hey, pet me, Beam, and then you do it, but then she's like, fuck off.
Yeah.
She's very weird like that.
Yeah,
she's
Vic,
always been like that.
What size shirt you want, Vic?
I should have it if you want the same one as...
Yeah, but it's easier if you
because we just sent him. I mean, I can look
2XL.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
2XL. Write that down.
That's good. Yeah.
Okay.
I actually have a blank 2XL.
All right.
In the shit. Yeah, so they start torturing her, and she says, yeah, I've been selling poison since 1633, maybe earlier, so I may be responsible for the death of up to 600 dudes. Yeah. So, they take her to the Campo di Fiori in Rome in 1659, also her daughter, and 3 of the people who worked with her, and executed her. Now, creepily, and this also kind of plays back into the first case we were talking about, they also arrested 40 of the poor women that had bought poison from her, that had poisoned their husbands, and executed them as well. However, some more upper-class women that had purchased poisons, they got much lighter sentences. Not surprisingly.
Yeah.
They were just put in jail for a short time or just saying, hey, don't do that again. Because they had money, so it was fine. But they executed 40 other women also who had bought the poison. What a lot of the more moneyed suspects said was that, oh, I had no idea this was poison. I thought it was just cosmetics. They just, like, played dumb.
Right.
Is what they did.
That's what I would do. Wouldn't you?
That seems like the best,
it'd be the best
option.
Yeah.
That
I just thought it was cosmetic. I didn't know what it was.
Yeah, I just went to this apothecary and I bought some lipstick. I didn't know that it
That's
had
what they sold me. Right.
I didn't know it had arsenic in it.
Right. Arsenic was probably in a lot of that shit anyway. I know that they were putting arsenic in makeup to fucking make it look brighter or something. What was that later on?
You know what? This is very interesting, and I had heard about this, but I read about it extensively when I did... I wrote an article about... Emily Gautreaux, who was the woman who was the subject of the very famous John Singer Sargent painting, Madame X, which I saw in New York. She was a fascinating person. We should actually maybe do a whole show on her, because I always wanted to see like a movie done about her. But one thing that she was very known for was she had a very striking profile, and she was also super, super pale. And one of the rumors, I'm not sure if it's entirely true, it may be, was that she would use arsenic or lead or something like that to make herself paler, because that was kind of one of her claims to fame. Yeah. Like one of the things that made her super striking, like in society. So there was like a lot of poisonous shit, like to make your skin look whiter. And to what extent did they know? I mean, they must have known that that was poisonous and that that was bad for you, I would think. To some extent. Maybe they didn't really know.
Well, even today, there's people that'll take things that are fucking poisonous and bad for you, but they do it because it makes them look better.
Yeah, I mean, so it's like, I guess we can like shit on people back then for like being stupid, but we do the same.
We still do the same thing.
We do the same shit
right.
nowadays. I'm drinking alcohol, for Christ's sake.
Right.
This is poison also.
Well, fucking performance enhancing drugs and shit like that, you know what I mean? Fucking some of that shit's bad for you, they take it anyway. Yeah, I'm gonna take Trembling. Make you fucking huge. Yeah, it makes you crazy. You want to kill everything you see, but fuck it. And it
Well, I feel like probably just as back then. I mean, I feel like I don't know, her. She lived a long time ago, but I feel like Emily Gautreaux was like, well, my paleness is one of the things that defines me. So even if this stuff is bad for me, it will probably take a long time to affect me. And in the meantime, I'll
get all this fame.
I'll get all this fame, and I'll look beautiful, so it's worth it. So I feel like they were doing like a risk assessment, perhaps. But like I said, man, we got to do a show about her. I don't know. For some reason, I found her I found her a really interesting person. And I think that she would be a good topic for a show.
Yeah.
She would be a good topic. I wrote a screenplay about her, actually, because I think that would be, like, a good movie. But, yeah, so she got executed. Like, 40 other people got executed. Her daughter got executed. Like, all the women that work for her got executed. And as I said, she may be responsible for the deaths of about 600 men. That's what considering like what her customer base was and stuff like that, if all those people that bought the poison from her had actually like gone through with it, then she was indirectly responsible for that many deaths, making her indirectly one of the most prolific serial killers of all time. Now, the reason why Aqua Tofana is so famous and still has its own Wikipedia page to this day is because of the lingering rumor that it was used to kill Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. Now, like I said, Mozart, who we should probably also do a show about him because he was also a fascinating person. Him and his dad and his sister, that whole...
Is that within the scope of the show, though?
I don't know.
So.
I always found it fascinating. Well, we could talk about
whether and how he died. Maybe.
Right, because nobody really knows.
Right.
And that's what I'm saying. So he died at 35. Now, interestingly, the reason that some people think that he was poisoned, specifically with Aqua Tofana, was because he himself said that. He apparently said or wrote in a letter, like before he died, like when he was sick, he said, and I quote, "I feel definitely that I will not last much longer." He was 35 years old. "I am sure that I have been poisoned. I cannot rid myself of this idea. Someone has given me Aqua Tofana and calculated the precise time of my death." That's what he said.
That's what he said.
Now, nobody thinks nowadays that he was poisoned. He probably died of something mundane, like a lot of people. I'm not saying that it's without the bounds of possibility that he might have been poisoned. He might have been. You
guys got to see this shit.
What?
Pookie fell asleep on her back behind
Did
me.
she?
Yeah.
Get the camera. Well, she's not asleep now. Okay. Get her.
She's looking at me. What's up, Pookie? Did you fall asleep?
Oh, Pookie.
And her fucking tail starts laying on her back with all four limbs up in the air. She fell back asleep.
Oh, Kitty.
It's ridiculous, man. It's like a person laying on their back. Pookie, you are fucking ridiculous. What the hell happened, Pookie? What you doing? Wake up. Okay.
Don't wake her out.
No, okay.
You're so mean.
No.
I'm not even on camera.
Where are they?
No, whoa, dude. Wait. What are you doing?
I don't know what I'm doing. Let me handle this. I got to turn around.
I am letting you handle it, and look
backwards.
what you're doing.
I got to turn around backwards.
Look what you're doing.
I got to turn around backwards.
But yeah, so, like I said, is it possible that Mozart got poisoned? Sure. Do I think he got poisoned? Probably not. I mean, yeah, he was really young when he died, but a lot of people died young back then. Interestingly, though, even though most experts think, yeah, he probably did not get poisoned, but I did find a thing that said some historians later on that were going through, like, they found, like, a lot of his original manuscripts and, like, a lot of his original scores and stuff. They did say that in the original manuscript of The Magic Flute, one of his most famous operas, they did find an unusual amount of arsenic on the pages, which, that was one of the main ingredients of Aqua Tofana. So, could someone have poisoned him? Maybe.
I think he had cancer.
I don't think it was.
Like
I don't think it was cancer, but
Yeah.
like there was a lot of diseases that could kill you back then, even at 35. I do feel like, I mean, and I'm not saying, because Amadeus is one of my favorite movies of all time, but that was based on a play that was based on a legend about Salieri and how he hated Mozart because he was like a genius and Salieri was just a workman-like composer and he was like jealous and stuff. So the rumor grew up that he had killed him, but I feel like that the reality doesn't really play that out. Like they were actually kind of friends and they collaborated on some shit.
So what's up with this case?
So I don't think that anything happened with that. But like I'm saying, that's why Aqua Tofana, the poison that she invented,
was actually famous for centuries after her death, even being implicated in Mozart's death, even though probably not. But he did actually think to say that somebody poisoned me with that shit because it was so famous. And like I said, even nowadays, the name of it is still famous, even though they're not sure. They think they know what's in it, but they don't know what the proportions of were in it. But it did seem to be that it was a good poison in the sense that it was undetectable. It would kill the person over several days and look like a disease, so it looked like a natural death. And also it could not be found in an autopsy. I don't know if, I'm sure it would be found in an autopsy nowadays, but if they were looking for it, because I know some poisons they don't necessarily look for it if the death isn't otherwise suspicious, because there are particular tests that have to be done for particular poisons. And if they don't suspect homicide in a particular case, then they're not going to look for the shit. But back then, if somebody just died of something that looked like, some common disease at the time, then they weren't going to check and see if the person got poisoned. And even if they did, I don't think they had the technology to see if it had really been that. So I feel like that's why she got away with it for so long. She had a whole fucking business doing this shit.
Yeah. She was the Bill Gates of poisoning your fucking old man.
Which, like I said, you have to say it's not good, but you have to think, okay, so I'm not saying all 600 dudes deserve to be poisoned, because I'm sure they didn't. But some of them probably did. I mean, to be honest with you. And some of the women were just probably they were at the end of their tether and they're just I don't have any recourse. What am I going to do? You couldn't divorce the dude. What are you going to do? You couldn't go to the law. Yeah. So it's I'm just going to go get some poison and I'm just going to off him and then I'll get the money. Oh, thank you very much, Celtic Angel. Thank you for Beijing and Pookie.
Thank you very much, bro.
See, everybody's remember.
Keep it rolling. Let's see them fucking flashbulbs.
We'll have to bring her on the show one of these days. Yeah. Except she'll be
give
the whole time. Get me off.
Yeah, and Neko got his shirt. Glad you enjoyed it, bro. He liked it. If you guys want any shirts, fucking we can make a donation right in the super chats of $20 at least. At least 20. And fucking if you don't have a shirt, we'll send you a shirt.
I have to send one to Melanie as well because I think I forgot to send. She sends me stuff over PayPal all the time, so I feel like I have to send her one.
How much is left on the show?
That's pretty much it. I mean,
All right, well.
Holy crap! We didn't even go to 3 hours this time.
No,
what
good.
happened?
It's a normal size show.
What happened?
It's a normal size show.
Nico always says, "LOL, I'm a girl," because you call everybody bro.
Do I?
Yeah.
I don't realize that I'm drunk. I'm drunk.
I'm drunk.
It's all part of the show.
Everyone's bro. It's kind of like in California where everyone's dude.
Yeah, dude. It's the same thing.
It doesn't matter. It's a genderless term.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna roll with that because I don't really know. Do we have? Oh well.
Pookie's over here. She's fucking wondering why is the show still going on? Why aren't we paying attention? It's gonna be all right, Pookie. We're gonna stop talking to the light box here in a minute.
Oh, Pookie.
We're gonna stop talking to the light box.
She's so mad at us right now.
Yeah, she's like, this shit fucking sucks.
She's so mad at us.
Yeah, no. It's still light outside though.
Is it?
Yeah.
Holy crap! I can't believe it.
It'll be going down in a minute.
I can't believe it. You sure you don't want to get drunk
and go
on?
We gotta finish the fucking stand.
I gotta watch some a new shit too, because we gotta live stream tomorrow and do a new.
So you don't want to watch stand?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
But we gotta watch some other shit.
All right. See what everybody's talking about.
Or we don't have to. We could review the stand tomorrow if we.
Could do that too.
If we watch enough of it to remember.
We got 4 hours of the stand left.
Ooh. What time is it? Okay, it's 7:45 here. Can I stay awake for another 4 hours? Well, okay.
Oracle Woman's making sure. Oracle Moon is making sure that I know that she's a woman. The only way I'm gonna be 100% sure you're a woman is you send me video. You gotta send me and Jenny video. You're gonna be breaking it off. Break that shit off. It's gotta be topless.
You're going to get in trouble.
Off. And then it's going to be a boob off between you and Tiff.
You're going to get in trouble.
It's me.
You just called me by your first wife's name.
I know that. Isn't that fucking something? I'm drunk. Be you and Jen.
Oh.
Yeah.
You're in big trouble.
I haven't fucking said
You're in bigger trouble than Pookie.
I haven't said her name in fucking how long?
I don't remember last time.
Fucking years.
But you have called me by her name before.
I have, but that was a long time ago. That had to be about 6 years ago.
I fucking got you. I love it. You guys are seeing the real shit right here.
Yeah, I'm fucking loaded.
Wow.
It's gonna be all right.
Seriously, I don't know if
no, that shit was like that much.
Okay.
That was like 1/8.
I've actually kept it together. I guess
you're
because
fucked up. What are you talking about?
I am too, but not to the extent that you are.
Yeah.
I actually still like remember shit.
Yeah.
I'm still fairly coherent, I think, right?
No. Yeah, you're coherent. Last week you weren't.
I know.
I just gotta say.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
You were doing the show talking in circles. You'd come
That's what I'm
around
saying
like this,
about
and then you'd
this
come
is
around,
why
and then
I
you'd
don't
say it again, and I'd have
This
to sit
is
back
why
there
I
and go,
didn't want to watch the last show
Yeah,
because that was the first time. Because sometimes I get kind of inebriated on the show, but that was the first time that I didn't remember ending the show, and I didn't remember the last hour. Like, it never came back to me. The whole last hour of that show is just a blank.
Yeah.
And I woke up at 4:00 in the next morning, and I was just kind of like,
Yeah.
did I turn the computer? Like, I couldn't even remember turning the computer off. Couldn't remember. And it amazed me because I think I posted it on Instagram and shit like that. I'm like, holy crap, go me, because I didn't remember doing that.
Don't call her Tiffany. They know my ex-wife's name. How'd this shit happen?
Because I just said that was your ex-wife's name.
Okay, all right.
Dude, that just happened like 2 minutes ago. I said, you just called me by your ex-wife's name. Okay. Have I ever called you by my ex-husband? No. Have I ever called you by my ex-husband's name? No, I have not. For the record. The record. And I was married for 15 years. Yeah. And I have never
Now she's trying to guilt trip me.
I've never called you by my ex-husband's name. Ever.
Yeah.
Thank you, Nico.
It's just, now they're paid.
See, this is how you do it.
You're getting that sympathy money. You're getting that sympathy money. Ain't that some shit? If you feel sympathy for Jenny, go ahead and pay her.
I'm not going to poison you. I'm serious. Not that I've thought about it, but I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it.
Have I even shown these bitches Tiff before?
You have.
I have? Okay.
Yes. One time, I don't remember what show it was. It was 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Yeah.
You kept showing pictures. You kept putting them up to the...
Oh, yeah,
several
pictures. That's right.
And I was just kind of like, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I show pictures to everybody that I talk to sometimes. I'll show pictures to fucking friends and shit.
I have never met her. I don't.
You wouldn't like her.
You don't think?
No, you wouldn't like her.
Why is that?
She's not like she was. Matter of fact, the friend, Melissa, my friend, who was her friend, still knows her, tells me that, you wouldn't
the one you visited in Mississippi?
Yeah. And the one at college, she goes, oh, you wouldn't like her. No, she's nothing like she was. Nothing at all. She has evolved into a being of evil. Although she might have been on that path anyway when I knew her.
Maybe she... Well, you guys weren't married that long.
No. It was only like a year.
I was married before it. I was married for a
No, I was only married for a year. I was with her for 2 years, but I was only married to her for a year.
I was married for 15 years
and I met him. Yeah, we were young back then, so you know what I mean? It's different. You know what I mean? It's different when you're young.
It's a lot different. I kind of feel like the person that I was in my 20s or even in my 30s.
Yeah, you're not the same.
I'm really not. Yeah. It's like a different person.
Yeah, exactly.
It's weird because you sometimes look back and I look back at... I was talking to my friend who I've known since high school the other day, and she sent me a letter that I had written to her in the 90s.
Yeah.
And I was like reading it, and I was kind of like, "Holy crap!" It's like it seems like it was written by someone else.
Yeah, exactly. We got
even though it was me, but it's like
you were married for a long time. I wasn't. See, and I was like 29. You know what I'm talking about?
I was 22 when I got married.
Yeah, I was like 29, and she was like 24. All right, she's like 24, maybe a little bit younger. I think about 24 probably. It's been a long time. Anyway, that doesn't matter. She was cute though. She was cute in the day.
She was a cute girl.
You would have liked her back in the day.
Yeah.
You would have liked her back in the day.
But not now.
No.
But you haven't talked to her in a long time.
No, I haven't talked to her in a long time, but she's nothing like she was evidently. I've heard about it. I was like, ugh.
I don't know what happened to my ex-husband.
Yeah.
I haven't talked to him since 2012.
Yeah.
When did we move in here? 2011? 2012?
They're saying I turned her evil. No, I didn't turn her evil. It was over time. She's been married. She got married after we broke up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't talked to my ex-husband since. I think it was 2000. When did I move out of my apartment and we got this house? 2000. 12, right?
Yeah, about that.
I think it was 2012. I think the last time I talked to him was when he was moving back to the UK. And he said, I'm leaving the car at the airport. Because we had a car that I bought. Well, we both kind of bought it, but I paid more for it. And he left it. Thank you, Elsa. And,
that's right. Break it off, Elsa.
She says, you're prettier anyway. I know. But,
Yeah.
but he couldn't take it back to the UK, so he said, well, I'll just leave it at the airport and you can pick it up. And me and him went to the airport and picked it up.
I'm going to show him. Oh.
What'd you do? Okay, you fucked it up. Yeah, that's her. She looks a little bit like me. A little bit.
Yeah, you guys were the same type, actually.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can find another one. Gotta understand, this is when we were very young, though. A little bit like Deborah Harry.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Zach says, how did I meet a Welsh guy to begin with? This is so old school. We were pen pals. Back in the 90s, shortly after I graduated from high school, I was still living in Daytona Beach, and I knew some guys around here, but I was kind of like, I was always kind of like into British shit. Like, I really liked British comedy. I really liked British music. And so I joined a pen pal service. This was before the internet was widespread.
Yeah, goths were on pen pals.
So yeah, so I joined like a British pen pal service where you would like, so they'd send you this like huge like list of names of people in the UK that had like your similar interests in music and shit. So I picked like 10 or 20 names off of there and like wrote letters to them. And he was one of the people that wrote back to me. Several other people wrote back to me, and I wrote to many of them for many years. But for whatever reason, he was the one that we kind of clicked with. He used to send me tapes of him talking, and he would like, and then finally he said, hey, I'm coming to Florida, you know, do you want to like hang out or whatever? So he came to Daytona and visited me, and he just like stayed and didn't leave because I was that awesome. But, you know, shit happens. I can't even, like I said, I feel bad that I haven't talked to him in so long, but I don't know. In a way, that seems like another person.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
No, now fucking Zach's in there. She's creepy. Zach, that bitch was not creepy. She was awesome. Other one's the guy going like, she's cute. Another guy said, I'd hit that. Tiff was cool. She was very cool. And she was... I'm not going to talk about it. Never mind.
Come on, this is the people love this shit. People love this shit. I'm done with my notes. You can do whatever you want.
She was a little skinny for me. You know, she's a little skinny. All right.
Nico says Jenny needs a fresh drink. I do.
Yeah. Well, the show's almost over. She was skinny. She was skinny, and she had it was very popular look back in the fucking late in the late 80s, 90s, even all the way up to the late 90s. For fucking like a hottie to be skinny but with fucking implants, and she was one of those, and she had a cool personality. She was one of the coolest girls in Mississippi. That's a Mississippi girl from the coast, around in the Biloxi area, and I met her in New Orleans in the French Quarter. She was very cool, but it just didn't work out over time. Let's just say that my job got in the way of a lot of it. You know what I mean? I had to be in other places, traveling and shit involved. But she also got bitchy. You know, sometimes a woman, when they're young, they kind of take advantage. They kind of take everything for granted. And
well, I get bitchy too, but I have a cause
you're very
for
different.
being bitchy.
She was very different. She's very different. No, you never really gave me a hard time.
I feel like I give you a hard time because I have a very stringent work ethic.
Yeah.
And a schedule to uphold for the show, for my books, for other things that we have to do. And if that is not, oh, bless you. And if that is not like adhered to, I get upset.
Yeah, that's true. That's true, but that was nothing compared to her.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's a little bit crazy too, and her mom was a little bit crazy, which I had to deal with her mom a lot. But yeah.
Louis says, if there's no kids involved, why would you stay in touch with your ex? I agree.
That's right. No kids
you
involved.
Probably should not. I do feel like I admire people that can still be friends with their... I don't have any hard feelings about my ex. He wasn't a terrible person. It was just, it didn't work out.
I met the guy, I couldn't understand him. The accent was so thick, I'm just like, what? I couldn't understand.
I was kind of like, because I met you when I was still married to him, even though, like, we were having problems at the time. And, like, he, after he realized that we kind of were getting together and he wasn't, like, going to be in the picture anymore, he kind of got vindictive and started trying to spread rumors about me in the scene, which didn't work because everybody knew me and not him.
Yeah.
So it's like nobody believed it.
It was fucking hilarious because during this time there were a bunch of these little fucking soy boys and shit that were gunning for her harder than shit, and they were fucking telling
I had some stalkers.
All kind of stories about me that weren't true, about what a hoe I was.
That
and
was
shit.
special.
And stop it, Poop. What are you doing?
Yeah, I'm not like
It wasn't really true. It wasn't true.
I'm not gonna like name the guy because he's a nice dude, but
no. And then he apologized to me.
He did later.
Yeah.
He got like, for whatever reason, he got like hung up on me because I guess I was nice to him at some night or whatever, and this was after me and my husband had separated, and like, so I was nice to him, and like he kind of. Got obsessed, and he was like, he would text me like 100 times a day, like not even exaggerating. Yeah. And it kind of got to a point where it was like, I was like weirded out. Like I didn't think he was going to kill me or anything, but I thought it was a little bit weird.
Boy, she tried to tear that up. You're crazy. You're going crazy. Yes,
She's being bad. You're being bad.
She's had enough. She wants this show to be over.
But yeah, so there was kind of a situation, and he kept like half of the shit he would text me was like how much he loved me. Thank you, Hayden. Oh my God. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much, bro. What's this say?
He said, did you get the RD350 running?
No, the RD350, okay, look. I need a new top end for the motor. I got almost everything except little shit. I got to get a new top end for the motor. I got to get a new crank. I got the fucking cases. I need to fucking get the magneto and all that shit and the wiring harness set up. But if I had the wiring harness, the fucking magneto and shit, because it was going to be straight kickstart. I don't even think I was going to put a battery in it. And get the fucking top end and the crank. I'd fucking... It could roll, because it's a rolling chassis already. I already painted. It's just for some reason, man, I hit a certain age and I'm like, oh, fuck it, I don't want to do it anymore. I don't know what it was. I built a bunch of motorcycles in a short period of time and fucking blew and got sick of it or something. But I was looking at the prices... Getting old. I was thinking about, in terms of top end, putting that Banshee, putting a Banshee top end and a Banshee fucking crank in it, out of a fucking snowmobile, out of a damn 4-wheeler, or is it a snowmobile? I forgot. I think it's 4-wheeler. It was a lot more horsepower, because I like a lot of horsepower. But then I was fucking thinking, I was like, I don't know if that chassis. The chassis would handle it. It's just that. I'm realizing that I'm dealing with a bike that fucking is not very fast, and when you start making that shit real fast, you're kind of fucking overpowering certain things. I don't know if the handling geometry is good enough to handle that kind of fucking power, but it is fucking very much throttle dependent. I mean, although I'm getting drunk and it's hard for me to talk about things that are technical.
You'll be all right.
Two-stroke, all that fucking power happens way high up in the fucking power band. It's either all or nothing. And I was fucking looking at this thing going, you know what? When this thing's done, it's going to be a fucking death trap. It's going to be a fucking death trap. So it might be more prudent to finish this thing fucking with kind of like maybe just a little bit above stock horsepower. Keep it weak, like maybe 30, 40 horsepower. Something like that. Something that's real manageable. Because I'd want to put those fucking badass expansion chambers on it and everything, That's all I'm going to talk about. Go ahead. That's it.
Make me another drink for a second. I gotta talk about some shit. Louis says, that's all it takes with us dudes, Jenny, a smile. Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like, I'm a nice person. I don't like to be an asshole to people. But there comes a point where I kind of feel like in my old age, like I'm almost 50, that there's something to be said for dudes like coming up to you and being like, hey, and you just being just like, fuck off.
Yeah.
Right now. Just fuck off. Like, even if they punch you or whatever, it's like at least you've established that you do not want anything to do with them. Because I feel like there's a type of dude that if you just so much as be polite to them, then they will just run with it. So I feel like that was kind of the situation. Like, you know what I mean? It's like I said, I'm a nice person. I try to be nice to everybody unless they're straight up a douche. And so this guy, like were like 3/4 of the messages that he sent me were how awesome I was. And then the other quarter were how much you sucked.
Yeah, but how bad I am.
Because he knew that, because we were hanging out at the time. Like, I was kind of like...
He was making stuff up.
Playing the field. You were playing the field. We were doing some other shit then, but like, we were still hanging out.
He was saying I was fucking all these women, and I wasn't fucking them.
Yeah.
I was just friends with them.
Yeah.
He was jealous, though. Jealous because she liked me.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of girls liked me. I wasn't screwing them, though.
Yeah.
You know who he was talking about, right?
Who particularly?
Tori.
Oh.
He was talking about Tori.
Yeah.
Because at that time, I don't know if I told you this, but Tori was trying to leave her boyfriend.
Yeah. I remember that.
And Tori is our Indian princess. She's a Native American. Her dad is in Indian affairs at Washington, D.C. She's a fucking really good-looking goth girl with a big fucking gigantic mane of fucking colored hair, and she's a
You're right.
Trying to remember what nation Indian she comes.
It's one of the it's one of the like northern ones because they have
she's almost like an Eskimo. They're whale hunting Indian.
Yeah, it's like an Inuit almost.
Yeah. Go ahead, keep talking. I'm trying to remember. Anyway, she was fucking really big into the scene, and she's always been this fucking kind of punk rock goth girl type thing.
She's awesome, by the way.
Yeah, she's super cool. And
she's just like an awesome person. She's
a
lovely person.
She was kind of in this fucked up relationship with this one dude, and fucking we were going to go out, but for some reason, one thing happened after another. The timing wasn't quite right, and I liked the guy, so I wasn't gonna fuck him over by going out with his girlfriend. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
It was one of those kind of situations. If I didn't like him, it would have been a different story.
Yeah.
So I didn't do it. You know what I'm talking about? What's it? She's a Macaw Indian.
There you go.
A Macaw Indian is what she is. Which they look like Eskimos, but they have blue eyes, a lot of them. She has blue eyes. Because they never went to war with the United States. They were always an American ally. This goes all the way back with like the foundation of the fucking Republic of California and everything. Because I don't know if they were part of I think they were still Washington State when that happened. But it was still pretty much of a fucking wild territory when all that went down. But they're all still there. You can see them up. You can see them on YouTube, where she came from, and they all look like that.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
Yeah.
They all look like her. But anyway, that's what that deal was.
I do feel like you had, because I had many people like warn me about you.
Yeah. Well,
even when we were just like hanging out.
Yeah.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you very much, Michael.
It was so weird. And I did feel like, I mean, I didn't know you as well as I know you now, but I feel like people were shitting on you for just like normal shit.
They were shitting on me for the shit they were trying to do.
Like, you didn't bang any, it wasn't excessive. It was just like normal shit. Maybe even less than normal shit.
Less. I would
less
think
than normal shit.
Less, yeah.
You were 90% less of a hoe than a lot of other people that I could think of.
Yeah.
You were probably less of a hoe than me after my divorce was filed.
It was about prestige. It was about prestige.
It was all like rumors and stuff.
Yeah. It's what it was. What it was is that they were talking about me because I was attracting attention. So they were making shit up.
People, well, here's the thing.
But here's the weird thing. After a couple years later, her and me together, all that shit vanished. And they're like, I'm sorry about talking about you like that.
Yeah, people actually apologized.
Yeah.
Like, the dude that had, like, you know, fucking texted me, like, for forever.
Yeah.
Went and apologized to him.
Yeah.
It's like,
For making that shit up.
He's like, you know, I misjudged you, I guess, or something like that. He said, I was in the bathroom. I don't know what he said.
Yeah.
He went up to you when I was in the bathroom.
I don't remember exactly what it was. He was there when you came back, though.
I gotta say, like, I admire that. That's why I don't want to, like, say his name or nothing like that, because it's like, he's not a bad dude. It's like, you know, he's been in the scene, like, forever, and it's just like, you know, he wasn't, like, super, like, he didn't, like, fucking come stalk me at my work or nothing like that, but it's just, like, I like that he, you know, came out and said, hey, I was wrong about you. Yeah. Like, not a lot of people did that.
He had no choice, though.
That's true.
Because by that time, fucking everybody, you knew that what he was saying was bullshit by that time.
Yeah. I think the problem with it was that...
He was just trying to compete. It was just a male thing.
Well, and like I said, you know, you're a snappy dresser. Yeah. You know, you were a snappy dresser. You would come to the club. You were a good dancer. Yeah. You had a lot of female friends. You weren't sleeping with them, but you had, like, a lot of women that were friends with you. Yeah. And I think that dudes saw that and didn't like it. No. So they started spreading rumors, like, with chicks they wanted to, like...
Well, they were all the girls that they liked.
Right.
And they were vying. Some of them were vying for me, but...
I think that was the problem.
And I'm real wise about which one I'm going to go with. And you know all these women. Yeah. You know why I didn't bite. Yeah. You know why I didn't bite. You know what I mean? There's each one of them kind of had different issues that weren't quite fucking on the up and up. The scene has a bunch of what we'd call characters in it. They're characters. You know what I mean? Yeah. They're characters. You know what I mean?
That's good, though.
You got to know what you're dealing with. You know what I mean? They're flawed people. You know? And some of them might be good for an evening or two, but long term, you don't want to be with that. All right. Jenny won out over time because she was a good long-term investment, because she was a good person.
I'm a good long-term investment.
Yeah, a lot of these women that we're talking about, you know what I mean, visually they might be stunning or attractive, but they're not good long-term investments because of their character. They're not good characters.
Well, and once you get
they're gonna fuck you over.
I mean,
or they have ulterior motives, or fucking they have pasts that they can't run from. Or they just have bad behavior, you know what I mean?
Yeah, there are other things.
Yeah, there's a bunch of other shit. So I mean, I'm not stupid like that.
Once you get old, I feel like that's a young dude's
game. It's a young dude's thing. You just because
we do, and we've seen that. Like I said, you know, you're in your, you know, you're 50, whatever. Yeah, I'm almost 50. Yeah. And I'm like, you get to a point where, like, I did stupid shit when I was young. Everybody did. But you get to a point where, like, dudes in particular, thank you, Victor. I'm investing in Jenny's.
Damn, thank you. She gets all the money, people. It's not me. Jenny gets all the money.
I spend it on the show. Like I bought the new computer, I bought the camera, I bought all that shit. Yeah. So yeah. I bought the shirts. Yeah, so that's the thing. It's like I feel like younger people, you're kind of like allowed to do that shit. But young dudes,
but you learn from that shit too.
Yeah, young dudes, I feel like if a woman is hot, they will put up with an amazing amount of shit that they would not put up with if that dude was just like average looking. Yeah. Like, so I feel like really hot women can have all kind of personality flaws and get away with it.
Only with the young guys though.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. But once you get into your 30s, your 40s, shit like that, you don't have time. You don't have time for that shit anymore.
I look at that shit and I go, oh man, they ain't gonna work with me.
Nope. You don't need that fucking drama.
Because none of that shit is for free. You might think you'd be diving off into that pussy. You can pay for it one way or the other. Okay. You might be able to get it a couple times for free, but then all of a sudden the shit starts piling up on you, and it's not for free one way or the other. It's either going to affect your reputation, it's going to affect your health, or it's going to affect your wallet, or they're going to keep calling you and you'll never get rid of them. There's all kinds. Don't do it. Don't do it. Just understand who it is before you fucking get involved with that shit. That's always been my fucking motto.
Well, like I said, I feel like a lot of dudes are blinded. Young dudes mostly. They're blinded by, if you're a hot woman, you can get away with an amazing amount.
I was already inured to that because I grew up in Brazil, where hot women were everywhere from my age, like 14. And there's no such thing as a teenager in Brazil back in the 80s. You were either a child or you were an adult. So I was in nightclubs at 14 already. You know what I mean? Chasing 14, 15-year-old girls. So the idea of fucking landing some hot chick, and when you're a foreigner, you have just foreigner and American, and you have some money, a lot of money, especially compared to them, you have a huge fucking social advantage. So I became quickly experienced with them, you know what I mean? By the time I was 17, you know what I mean? I already had good taste, you know what I mean? And I knew how to defend myself. So it's kind of like accelerated evolution. Very much in a way, I grew up kind of like a celebrity grows up. You know what I'm talking about?
Well, you had a lot of money where you...
Yeah, I had a lot of money when we were there. My family was very wealthy.
Yeah.
Okay. We're talking about in excess of $2 million a year in Brazilian money.
Yeah, you guys had maids and all that kind of shit growing up.
So I was kind of raised rich.
I can't imagine.
Yeah. Now all that shit dissolved over time, but you know what I mean, because wealth and success is a temporary thing, and it's things that have to be maintained. But I grew up in that environment in a fucking developing country. They called it a developing country. So from an early age, I abused that shit, but it wears off very quickly. You know what I'm talking about?
Well, if you have it all the time, it's just kind of like it's not special anymore.
It's not special. It becomes unspecial very quickly. So, but I think my family made more than $5 million a year when we were there. Yeah, so a lot.
Well, like I said, you guys had a really nice.
Yeah, I could have whatever I wanted.
You had maids.
And I ran from that shit. Went to the army because I fucking hated it.
Yeah.
I hated it. I just hated, you know. And I'm not the only one. A lot of them fucking trust fund kids, they end up killing themselves and shit like that because they hate having everything done for them. You never really develop a character of your own.
Louis says, I've been watching you guys for years, but how did Tom end up in Brazil?
My mother was a secretary to the consul general of Brazil. She was part of the State Department. So after and I was in a military academy at that time. And
yeah, that was when you were, what?
Yeah.
In your teenager?
12, 10, 11, 12. Went to Signal Hill, Southern California Military Academy. And because of fucking like family backgrounds, my mother kind of had like a leg up. She had divorced my dad by that time, but she had a leg up into fucking government service. And while she was on foreign assignment in Brazil, she met an American guy from Michigan, and he owned Dumont Dental Industries. It was a division of Kerr Cybron Corporation, which they made dental equipment, gutta percha and drill bits and fucking rubber gloves and shit like that. So it was all part of the dental industry. And I was there for a while, 2 years, then moved back to the United States. We were only there for about a year. It was during that time, or a year or 2 years, I think. I think it was 2 years. I think. Man, it's been so long. But I went to school in Michigan during that time, Trenton, Michigan. And then we went back to Brazil. And because of all the fucking weird, I was losing all kinds of credits because when I went to high school in the United States, most of my shit wasn't counted back in Brazil. Because the school that I went to there was a fucking IB school, which is International Baccalaureate. So half my shit. So I had to do a bunch of extra high school. So I did another couple years of high school back in Brazil in an international high school. And then once I graduated from there, I went back I went to Detroit, and I lived there for about a year. I was in the goth scene and shit, having fun with some friends that I went to high school with. And then I got fucking, I can't remember exactly what had happened. I don't remember why I left. I went to my dad's house. And when I was at my dad's house for a couple months, the fucking first Gulf War kicked off, and I went, on a whim, I was like, that's it, I'm going back into the service, because I was raised in a military school. I said, war is here, I'm going to go fucking make a war career. Joined the infantry and fucking went to war. But instead of going to fucking first Gulf War, they sent me to fucking Korea. Yeah. On the DMZ, though, I'm glad they sent me the fucking 1st and the 506th, which is the DMZ battalion that takes care of all the fucking places at Panmunjom. Well, they're associated with it, where they held all the peace talks. So I was right there on the fucking border, and I got all into that North Korea shit. And then did that for a year, and then fucking got sent to the 101st down at Fort Campbell and did a mission in the fucking Sinai Peninsula. Got out. Ended up doing some stuff in for 4 or 5 years I was in Boston as a fucking salesman, and then, man, I'm not telling my whole story. I went back to the Mississippi area and Mississippi, Louisiana area. I did a bunch of fucking different shit with fucking kind of like contracting out for companies that were involved in police and law enforcement and training, all support stuff. Did that for a long time. Then I came up here to eventually after my divorce and shit fucking kind of not playing out with the contracts going on in Louisiana, I ended up here in Florida because I thought at the time my mother was dying because she was living here.
She had cancer.
Yeah, but she never died.
Yeah, she's still alive, actually.
She's still alive, yeah, but we thought she was going to die, but I liked it here, so I stayed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but once I started going to the scene in Orlando, I was like, I think I like this better than New Orleans, so I stayed.
It's weird because the scene in Orlando is very. It has drama like every other goth scene everywhere, but it's amazingly supportive.
Yeah.
Like I like that it's kind of like big city but small town at the same time. You know what I mean? Like, we know most of the people here.
Yeah.
But, you know, like I said, it's kind of like, I don't know, your fucking history is, like, crazy. Like, that you had maids and, like, all that money and shit like that. I grew up in a fucking trailer park.
Yeah.
You know? It's like, it's so sad.
Yeah. All right, I think we ought to go ahead and shut it down. Everybody's having a good time. Yeah, but it's time to shut the show down.
Oh, Zach says, I forgot to tell you you're doing a cookbook. My half-sister, L'Oreal Gavin, actually published one, The Butcher Babe.
Yeah.
If you want to find it. I'm going to look that up, okay?
All right.
Where you moving that shit?
I just moved it a little bit. It's something stuck there.
Okay. All right, so we're all... coherent?
Yeah, I'm semi-coherent.
You're semi-coherent. That's good. So I'm not going to be afraid to watch this tomorrow. And we actually did okay on time. 3 hours and 18 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should probably end it. I probably have to go to the bathroom. All right. So
you guys like, share, subscribe.
You guys enjoyed the show. Like, share, subscribe on all your social media, blah, blah, blah. If you want to support the show, please go to Patreon. You get to vote in polls, and that's a new thing. You get to, like, vote like what our next topic is going to be, what our next movie is going to be. Also, check out my new Tomes of Terror, my new book review show, which patrons will get to see tomorrow morning, but public will get to see Monday morning. Hopefully you guys enjoy those because I'm having a good time doing them. So go and watch it and like it and all that other kind of stuff. And we will see you on the next live stream, which will probably be tomorrow afternoon. So we will see you later. Bye.